The final day of North America for the Challenger Elite Stage 4 is underway. Electrify Steel, 3 Kings Gaming going at it. This is a match that's more important for keeping 3 Kings alive in a technical tiebreaker later down the line. Electrify Steel is kind of just playing for scrim points right now. But my name is McCormiel. With me is Cash. We are on Berlin for map number 1 here. Electrify Steel down early on. It's been 3 Kings who have won the initial gunfights and now find themselves getting a bit more time here with about 30 seconds left inside of P1.
And finding a bit more time is what they need to do, given they're on the good side of P1. They're going to try to soak up as much of this as they can before their eyes start to turn towards that P2 rotation. But as it's 4 for 1 in the kill feed, that's going to grant them clearance not only for the last 15 seconds of P1, but you see 3 arrows flying over to P2 to start to get this contest on. And Kaiser already kicking things off with a huge gunfight win. Yuli to follow.
He drops down to the bottom of P2. Rotation, you see those red arrows start making their way for Electrify Steel into the bottom of mailroom. Up the staircase, Pentagram will go. One-on-one gunfight against Yuli. Won't be able to win it. So now everything's just about this potential break here from Electrify Steel. Not going to be able to find the first couple of kills. 3 Kings have done a great job of being able to keep Electrify Steel all the way out from the point. It's been an interesting kind of a stage for Electrify Steel here in Elite Stage 4, Cash. Simply because, Electrify Steel, they came into this after the Boston LAN, or excuse me, after the Toronto LAN, with tons of confidence, and it just seems like that's kind of almost fell apart ever since the first match that they played.
Yeah, it is weird to see, like you had said, where they've kind of found themselves in the position they're at now, still looking to try to get something going for them, like you said, playing for screen points here, but a team that can very much string things together. You just wonder, is it too little, too late? What is it that exactly went wrong for this squad? And to kick things off here, well, we're kind of asking that same question as 3 Kings get out to a very confident 60-point lead, and behind the streaks of a couple players, definitely a good way to get started. Electrify Steel need to look to get a solid hold here, and looking at the setup at the top side of your map, they look to be locked in for P3.
They should be good for it, but unfortunately that does also come with the consequence of losing those first 2 engagements. So you are going to keep those close spawns over towards the back left. However, one is going to spawn out, so it should be about a parallel now with the side of 3 Kings. They're going to push directly into the belly of the beast, try to go around to the backside spawns. They'll wrap all the way through. Gunfight's going to be 1-2 straight, looking for the third inside the left corner, and of course you have Pentagram, who's still trying to sprint all the way through the point. As he pops for a double, and Cryptic has a one-on-one inside of the hill. The rest of the teammates are going to be there. Spawns in for 3 Kings, and another beautiful break there from the roster that has so far led the way thus in Berlin.
And the way they were able to take that was, like you just said, to kind of dive into the belly of the beast, run around, secure spawns in the back. It was a pinstripe kill feed on the hill, but because they made that play and that did that dirty work early on, they were able to secure those backside spawns, found themselves once again accruing substantial amounts of time here. Now their lead growing to 70 points as they look to put their eyes on this rotation over to P4. And for Electrify Steel, you haven't been able to find secure footing. Sure, they win the gunfight on rotation and have more players over here on P4, but it's been 3 Kings Gaming. Whenever they need to find the kills in the lanes that they need to, they're finding them, and just like that, 2 more players fall. This is all lanes open here for 3 Kings to collapse.
Once again, 3 Kings just fly all the way through. If you want to just look at the slaying department, that is a big standout factor thus far of why 3 Kings have been able to play the way they have. But it's also come from the team pushes. There's been multiple 2-3 hits, mainly what we just saw from the back of P3, where they were able to wrap all the way through, get the scrap time there, and then off on the rotation. Finally, for the first time, it's something good we can talk about for Electrify Steel. It's a 4-man feed, and now they're going to be able to string that a bit further. But it's only 2 players that really made noise on the site were able to break this in. But again, double on the staircase, might be able to pick up one. Unfortunately, does come through for Cryptic. But 3 Kings have led the way so far. And for a team that has struggled with hard points specifically throughout the entirety of Stage 4, this does not look like the 3 Kings roster that has, consistently found failure when it comes to maps 1 and 4.
It really hasn't. The way they're playing with their maps right now, look at where Mind is playing, just locking Electrify Steel into the bottom left corner of the map, knowing exactly where they're going to come from next, and having their pre-aims ready here for P5. Panda tries to open things up, get some kills, but if you're Electrify Steel, you have so much work to do in the mid-map just to get control and look to try to get an ounce of time to lead now almost 100 points and growing. As 3 Kings Gaming, like you said, a team that are at least coming out here on map number 1. Not completely different given that they're still on the run for things, but this is a very energetic and electric start from them.
Fortunate teammate there is going to allow 3 Kings to hop up onto the point. Panda's going to be the first one in with the way of the AR. Fame will be there for support and backup. Yuli, though, trades that out instantaneously after the fact. So now it's going to be the talk of the town of the P1 rotations all the way back and towards that bottom left side of your mini-map. Cryptic finds the kills there. It's just going to be Pentagram trying to lock down a few more players from 3 Kings, halt the rotation on over, and make sure the forces are weakened when they go ahead and find their first push. But with about 10 seconds of scrap time now, it needs to be a full focus on towards P1 here for a second set of rotations here on Berlin.
Three players, 4-3 Kings coming through. Bottom train station, but Cryptic is who I have my eye on. A big gunfight win coming here, playing patiently for player 4 in Pentagram, and is able to take that gunfight. So now that's going to start turning the heads of the players for Electrify Steel. If you're player 2 in Fame, you're able to find that and at least mitigate that flank for the time being. But before you can even turn around, players are already up in your face, challenging P1 once again, as 3 Kings have done so well. This map is really just play bully ball. They like to funnel a lot of players through one lane and just kill out, and that's been the tale of this. So though you had a hold for Electrify Field to start, the last 30 seconds still look to be going the way of 3 Kings.
I mean, all that took was one kill on the left side of the staircase. You push 2-1 through. Yuli wins a gunfight where he gets down to 6 HP. Shouldn't have walked away with a gunfight, but does. And then when you have a 1 versus 4 at the point there, it's almost impossible to be able to win that. So it's just break after break. Sure, Electrify Steel on initial time might be able to get the first 10 to 15 seconds. Might get 10 seconds of scrap time here and there, but when 3 Kings is getting the meat and potatoes of the actual meal itself instead of the hard point and walking away with 40 to 45 seconds every hill, there's no wonder why they're almost up by 100.
It's going to need a full 60, as you were alluding to, for Electrify Steel to find themselves back in. And like you had said, the initial time and scrap aren't going to get it done whenever the majority of things are going the way of 3 Kings Gaming. What a beautiful way to put that. And well, as we look over to P2, it's an open hill, and if you're 3 Kings, you're not sweating that at all. You have the ability and the confidence, at least in map number 1, to win these gunfights. 2 more continue to fall. It has been an orange kill feed for this entire map, and for Electrify Steel, not able to find any kind of map positioning and presence. It has been all 3 Kings Gaming, and I mean, you can just look at the scoreboard and see everyone nearing double positive, but over positive to say the least.
I mean, every single time that they've gone towards a hard point, they've looked to make themselves a break or get themselves on the rotation. It's been a constant swarm, and that's a little triple there from Casey Pander. We'll walk away with some scrap time for yourselves, but again, it's just the point of getting past not only that 100-point mark, but finding the way back in through this game. You look at the names of Electrify Steel. One of the most consistent rosters from last year was that Built by Gamer squad of Pentagram, Gata Rex, Pander, as well as Kismet, and now with an addition of Fame, you would think, hey, this team is going to be really, really good. Fame has looked really good throughout the entirety of the season thus far. Obviously, it's a slow start here to the hard point. It's not something that I'm going to really look in with too much care, but with how Electrify Steel has played throughout the elites thus far in Stage 4, it leaves a lot of cause for concern, especially with the event coming up in Boston in July.
It really does, and of course we have a lot of series ahead of us, and like you said, maybe as far as Fame scoreline, but even just the initial map, Electrify Steel, giving them a pass and seeing how they regain the next map. Now, they have crossed that 100-point mark, and the game is still about 75 points, but they're trying, and at least looking like they're getting a bit more warmed up here, trying to knock off more substantial amounts of time, but whenever you're walking into pre-aims in P3 like that and letting Mind find the kills that he is, it is very hard to turn things around. If you've got to shift the tides, it's got to be on P4, and, well, that's one of the hardest ones to do it.
I mean, Cash, we didn't really get a lot of time to set this up at the beginning of our show here, but, hard point was kind of the struggle for both of these two teams. I mean, both teams have struggled in their own regards and in copious amounts of game modes, but hard point specifically for 3 Kings, they were 1-5 coming into this. Electrify Steel, sure, you were, 2-3, 2-2, but at the end of the day, it should not be this drastic in difference between these two teams, especially, again, with Electrify Steel and how they've played over the last month of Vanguard. Sure, it's a day-to-day game. It's a week-to-week game. You can say that all you want to, but there's really no excuse for being down by 100 points to a roster that, again, you should be able to beat full-heartedly.
Yeah, the margins with which either squad have, been losing in hard points is 30 or less points. And so, like you were saying, for Electrify Steel to be down by this much, it's shocking, though it is against a really solid 3 Kings squad. It's something where I figured Electrify Steel were going to be able to come out and at least give it a better effort. 3 Kings Gaming now climbed out to 235, just need 15 more to close this out and look capable of doing just that. But for Electrify Steel, it's going to be really hitting a regain here. In map number 2, you want to keep the guns hot, and I mean, we're going to go to a Bocage, so we're going to not only scale things down, but speed things up for the Bocage Search and Destroy, and yeah, you just look to get warm and get going. Like you said, you look at this roster, you look at the names that are brought here, a roster that in it, the 3 core members found lots of success. Maybe can just start to string things together here as this series starts to go on.
15 seconds for 3 Kings. You got to get inside of P5. Electrify Steel are starting to bring this back. Surely there's no way they're going to be able to do so. Couple more kills go to the way of God RX. 6 in a row. Looking for one more. Could be a glide bomb and some streaks to get them back and started. Not going to be able to win the one-on-one there. Get some help, though, from Pander, so you're able to lock down P5. This is what we were hoping to see from Electrify Steel early on in the game, specifically over towards P3 when they had that really golden opportunity to not only get back into the game, but almost tie the game up when it was about 70-30. Yuli going to be on the rotation, though. Pops a 2-piece, 15 seconds again, all this out of the 3 Kings knee, but also on the tail end of this P5. We're going to have to rotate back over towards P1. The gunfights are going the way of Electrify Steel, so again, as improbable as it is, Well, that might just seal the deal right there as Yuli finds those couple of kills. They're going to be inside of P1 here, get the scrap time on Old, and it's going to have to be miracles here from the side of Electrify Steel if they want to get inside of it, but mind holding back it over towards P5. It's going to come down to GodRx trying to win the one-on-one. You can't win it versus Yuli there. Player number 4 going to fall there too. That should just about do it. 5 seconds left. You're just trying to scrape your way all the way back on over towards the point. Three Kings, a phenomenal display here in map number 1. Should be able to take it here in just a couple more seconds. Hey guys, get the point. Let's go ahead. Come on. You can do it. GodRx. This is just stalling at an ultimate level. This is just going for kills at this point.
Yeah, that's exactly what it
There
is
it
here.
is.
And finally, the toe gets in the window to close that one out. Yuli ends on a 6th streak there in his last life as well. So, again, just a very strong showing. Everyone for Three Kings coming out on fire, and it didn't slow down much, like you had said. Electrify Steel maybe started to find a little bit of life. Not enough to even really make us think that the comeback was possible, but still enough to say, like, okay, you know, at least they're showing up a little bit. They're starting to get things worked out. But yeah, just like that, we're going to bounce back over to a map 2, and that's going to be on Bakaj. And for Electrify Steel, like you said, kind of shocked at how that performance, how they've come out, at least to kick things off tonight. But again, lots of COD ahead of us, and that's not to discredit at all this Three Kings roster. What they came out and did just now, very impressive, and just a very unified effort.
I mean, the only map that Three Kings have won thus far in Hardpoint throughout the multiple series that they've played was on a Berlin Hardpoint. So at least you have that out of the way.
Yeah.
You have a 1-0 lead in the series. Electrify Steel, I'm not going to count too much into this. You know, not to make excuses, not to kind of run anything through the treadmill, but more importantly than anything, Three Kings still technically have a chance. It's a small chance to make it into the playoffs, but there's a chance for them. They have to come through a virtue of tiebreakers. Right now, they're kind of sitting on the outside looking in. They need a lot of help, not only from DTO, but from also Ironblood, because Ironblood and Three Kings right now, they are kind of sat at 2 and 4. Map count though for Three Kings is a little bit further down, so not only would they have to get to the point where Destroy the Odds and Three Kings would both be at a 3 to 4 standstill, but they would also need them to lose every single map, and then Three Kings would have to win every map out. Look, Three Kings does not have a good shot to get in here. This is essentially just for a little bit of practice going into the Boston event, as we kind of hit on at the top of the show, but going into the S&D, I don't think that we're going to see the same Electrify Steel that we saw on map number 1 there. Maybe it's just a slow start, maybe whatnot. Again, I don't want to make excuses for either of these two teams. Three Kings just played that map better.
Yeah, and you look at, again, the roster of, or the person I think of, you know, looking at this Electrify Steel roster, and Search and Destroy is going to be GodRx, of course, is someone who I'm going to have my eye on after going to map number 2. But just having a look at the stats, I mean, we knew the slang was lopsided. GodRx going positive. Pander coming somewhat close, but I mean, very comfortable games from everyone for the side of Three Kings, and that just came down to, from the rip, they were winning gunfights, and you know, sometimes you get in those maps where you are winning gunfights, and then someone has to be on the other side of that losing those gunfights. So a great way to start for Three Kings. They hope to keep that up as the series goes on, because like you had just laid out for us, they have a lot of work they need to do, and every map that they can take is definitely going to help.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at Three Kings, though, just from that last game, and, you know, I guess we didn't talk as much about the Three Kings run there at kind of the close to that hard point, but, I mean, just looking at Cryptic specifically, 36 and 22, that's a phenomenal game, 4,000 damage out of him, but the non-treated kills is really what we look for a lot of the time, and it's very, very, very apparent when we look at the two teams and the difference between those six non-treated kills from Fame. That needs to be better, exponentially or negative as well in the kill compartment, and obviously that's not the most important thing when it comes to a team game like Hardpoint, but it also does not help when you have every single person except for one going negative on your roster, and you're consistently getting outslayed. There was multiple times where Three Kings would have, you know, 3-4 downs, beautiful breaks into the hills. I didn't see one kind of flash of that from Electrify Steel, except maybe on the back end when we were kind of in the garbage time of the Hardpoint there, where they were able to lock down P5 and then maybe the early rotation over towards P1. But that was like the only glimpse of hope that I saw from Electrify Steel throughout that entire map. They were outclassed in every measure by Three Kings, and you have to tip the hat to them, especially for what they were able to do, only coming in with one Hardpoint win to this match.
Yeah, and what we have laid out for Three Kings as well is, if they want to take it at least against this Electrify Steel team, it's going to be in a 1-3-4 fashion. I favor them, you know, somewhat in the respawns, and if they can take map number 2, great, but they come out in map number 1 and take care of business, like you've said. They just kind of run the floor with the squad, and so shifting gears to Bakaj for map number 2, like you said, you expect to see a different Electrify Steel team here. Definitely hoping for a more competitive map in this one. And I'm excited to see how it goes here, because it'd be quite the bounce back for Electrify Steel to get themselves back in the series. You don't want Three Kings Gaming to go up as you go into another respawn after this map. Of course, you know, neither team, again, nothing flashy or fantastic for their records, but still want to be the one to not be in an 0-2 situation. And Electrify Steel trying to open things up with the first blood, but in turn, Godorex gets his head ripped off by Yuli.
It's just that constant aggression that we've seen from Three Kings thus far. It's what we saw in Berlin. It opens up the doorway to get that first blood here inside of round number 1 of the S&D 2. It's that constant pitter-patter that they're going to keep putting on you throughout the entirety of a series that you're going to need to counteract to. And Electrify Steel, at least you go ahead and, you know, you find that equalizing trade. It's a 3-3, but now with a 3 versus 2, mine has the bomb. You're trying to work over towards this B site. Pentagram and Pander, they're just kind of playing passive right now, looking for another pick. They just want to even things out of the 2 versus 2. They don't care, at least at the moment, if that bomb goes down. You just want to equalize the man count.
40 seconds left to work with. Three Kings just trying to figure out where exactly they want to go, maybe leaning back towards this A site. They don't have a lot of map control, but given that they're up 1 life, they know they still have some room to work with. Player 2 in mind, just trying to get aggressive here through Zig, and gonna try to quickly get this bomb down. Try to stretch if you can. Yuli gets eyes on 1, is able to take it with the fadeaway shot. Quickly on the chase is going to be Pander. Gonna get eyes on him, and well, now that his position discovered and bomb is down, this should be the round for Three Kings here.
Yeah, it'd have to be a very, very difficult 1 versus 3 here from Pander, but I mean, you can't discount what Yuli was able to do right there, and now with Mind on the chase with the MP40 in hand, you're going to be able to clean that last player up. So the ball continued to keeping rolling here for Three Kings as you now have found yourself the first round, but again, tip the hat once to Yuli there, who not only finds that first initial gunfight to give you the man advantage, but it takes another very aggressive challenge where he almost dies and loses his life there in that late round situation, which easily could have turned it into a 2 versus 2 and changed the entire complexion of that round and gave the Electrify Steel roster a lot more confidence. But back to an offensive round this try for Electrify Steel. Looking to go ahead, at least find that first information. Stuns and nades over the top. Trying to find where these Three Kings players might be coming from. Kaiser shots are going to be there. Double doors open up. Somehow Pentagram stays alive for a minute. But with a pinstripe kill feed, we go 2 versus 2 here. Only 15 seconds off the clock. And now a 1v for Godorex. Another 1v odd situation for Electrify Steel.
And the win is for Three Kings, not only in the round, but in how the round kicked off. And like you have highlighted here in the Search and Destroy, as we saw throughout the Berlin hardpoint, it is aggression through the mid-map that this team thrives off of. It was a pinstripe kill feed at mid-map, but Three Kings ended up going up with the man advantage, and they were already at that 50-yard line of the map where they just had so much control and knew where the players had to be coming from in order to make a play. So it's aggressive on offense, they find success. It's aggressive on defense, and they find success. Mind on 4 in a row. Going to keep an eye on streaks for that. But for Electrify Steel, the answer first and foremost starts with not even the first blood, more so just slowing down this aggression. How are you going to counteract? And maybe that's holding pre-games. Maybe that's what you have to do to slow down the squad. But for the time being, down 2 rounds, they have to find an answer quickly.
It's just insane how aggressive Mind is willing to be up throughout the middle of the map without the rest of his team in tow. And now he can just wait here in the corner, wait for somebody from Electrify Steel maybe to get a bit aggressive, catch somebody off guard. But that just gave so much map pressure and presence to the side of Three Kings that Electrify Steel now has to counteract without even knowing that Mind's in that position. So, you know, Cryptic will hold this long angle with the AR over towards the B site, looking for player number 7 or 6 to get aggressive and challenge out. But with Mind on 4 in a row right now, all you're trying to do is find some information, shots onto Fame. He's going to be forced to back off, but Mind will chase that kill down. Gets kept down by Pentagram, so the streak is now off the table, but it's still a 3 versus 2 with Three Kings and the man advantage.
Bomb confidently going to go down B. Electrify Steel going to have to play a 2v3 retake, and player 3 and Kaiser are going to back up deep and watch the flank. Both players 4 Electrify Steel going to try to work through P3 and tower. Try to find a pick and hop the defuse if they can. Yuli watching the bomb, though. This is going to be a gunfight that Pander, well, isn't going to be ready for, but going to have to take.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to win that gunfight, especially when you're still trying to find information on where the rest of the team is playing, and when your teammate's not able to, you know, be there for an immediate trade on the site or even win the one-on-one across the map. It's going to be really difficult. This is actually kind of reminding me of what we just saw with Team War, or not Team War, excuse me, with Roger on the stream in EU, where they just tore through the opposition and just made it look like it was child's play on Desert Siege. Obviously completely different map, but you know, the same results. Three Kings map number 1, they looked great. We thought maybe this was the turnaround for Electrify Steel. Sure, it's only 3 rounds in, but something needs to change here, and it has to happen on an offensive try, which is going to be even more difficult to do. Fame, long range shots onto Cryptic, forces them to back off the tank. That's going to give them the information to say, hey, we can push up over toward the A site, but they've got to be careful because Mind is still up in the attic, waiting for a couple of players to push on out. Only in the MP40, but still shoot it at long range.
Electrify Steel with very minimal information on where Three Kings are playing. Of course, laning this A site, but Three Kings are as well. And whenever you're playing as well as you are up 3 rounds, and of course it's a defensive round for Three Kings, you just force them to have to make the play. So they're cool sitting back. They know when to play that aggression, and then when they want to sit back and make the other team have to make a play. And well, you open up with the first blood there and get mined off the board. Yuli to follow as well. Cryptic and Kaiser left in a 2v3 situation, bomb down. Kaiser gonna stick to defuse, and I love this from Three Kings. They're not gonna check it.
Oh, because he's only going to go for Cryptic here, and they're not going to be able to get the wallbang shots. And no, 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 that cannot happen. You get the first blood. You finally find yourselves the advantage in terms of the life count and throw it away because you play so far back and you plant the bomb in literally the worst spot for you to be able to play a retake. It all starts with Pander. Pander played so passive aggressive down over towards the side of where the tunnel was. He had the AR. He had no health taken off of him. He didn't want to challenge the gunfight there. That was like probably the most, like, I don't want to say afraid, but the most skimpish gunfight I've ever seen Pander kind of just run away from.
And that's what
he's that guy.
That's what Three Kings has made Electrify Steel do so far this series, is play afraid. They're playing so aggressive that if you're Electrify Steel, you're trying to counteract it, and it just makes you question every move. You got to figure out, are they already through our spawn? Where exactly are they coming from? So that's props to Three Kings for playing as confident and aggressive as they are. Of course, it's working out for them. That's what makes it that much better. But Electrify Steel, like you had said, it is passive gameplay, and it is biting them harshly right now as they're down 4 rounds and really no end in sight. It is a 2v3. You'd like to think they'd get this round, but well, Three Kings clutched up a 2v3 last round. Granted, those on defense, and they've got to find a way to work this bomb, and ultimately are surrounded. But Casey Pander losing a gunfight that perhaps could have taken God RX now makes it a 1v3, and at least that'll be the first round on the board for Electrify Steel. But you got to get something else rolling here to get this one in your favor.
I was gonna say, yeah, there we go.
Starts with
Finally
one,
getting yeah, I guess it counts the most. But once you were able to find that gunfight win over by the lighthouse, and then you're able to not only find or at least have the information of Yuli up and towards the top of the barn, it's going to make things a lot easier. So 3 versus 2, they're able to convert on this time. You would like to have seen that for 2 straight rounds, but unfortunately they don't walk away with the one where they had the bomb down on that A site. Back to the offensive side though, now for Electrify Steel, once again showing at least some implications of going over towards this A site early on. Pentagram's going to slide up close and aggressive, look over towards the top with bomb in hand. Now for the side of Three Kings, you played very aggressive over towards the B bomb. If you want to retake back over towards A, it's going to be a bit difficult, but with what they've shown so far, they are very not only capable, but, it kind of plays into their favor almost.
And they're just trying to see if they can get Electrify Steel to get a little over-aggressive on this A site. Like you had said, leaning towards this B, but very capable of making that retake. 2 players, 1 and 4, Yuli, Cryptic, both working back over here. Pentagram pinned down on this bottom side of the site. Now we start to see that aggressive flip come in, where Three Kings are going to start to inch up on this site and try to take these gunfights. The stun comes in and, well, doesn't let Yuli win it, in turn gets chopped down. But this flank in from player 3 and Kaiser going to be huge. Player 6 and God RX is giving it up.
Oh, but Fame actually read that, so they're going to know that the flank is coming through, but the bomb won't be able to go down. That's, again, just the slow approach that Electrify Steel had towards the pushover towards A, and it doesn't reward them because Three Kings get the rotation back on over. Sure, it's a ticky-tacky play where you're not going to know exactly where they are, but you have to play with more aggression if you're going to go over towards this A site, because now you leave Fame in a 1 versus 2. Knows where Mind is, but Cryptic up and towards the top of Grandma's will cut that last player down. A 5-1 lead now here on Bakaj. And they're at match point here, looking to go ahead and find themselves a 2-0 series lead in what has not been a close series whatsoever versus this Electrify Steel roster.
It hasn't been, and really what I continue attributing that to is the aggression. And I know we haven't seen a ton of aggression out of Three Kings the last couple of rounds, but that's what you award yourself when you played that high octane, fast-paced gameplay early on. You can slow it down, and you're in control of the pacing of the game. Now you can do whatever you want around the map because you have the other team just sitting back timidly and scared, trying to see where you're going to make your next move at. Trying to get aggressive to the mid-map is going to be Mind once again. Like you said, loves to go up and play without teammates, and, well, more power to him because he's been winning those gunfights and opening things up with first bloods here as they find themselves up 5-1, just trying to look for some information and get a lane open to get the bomb down. Three Kings for the time being looking. Yuli losing another gunfight here off of top gate to God RX.
Beautiful shots there from God RX to get the first blood to the side of Electrify Steel. 55 seconds left here in the round. Bomb down in a very, very, very bad spot in the middle of the map. Your Electrify Steel now with the man advantage. You now know where Cryptic is, all the way in the back of the map, and this Kaiser will fall. This is going to be a very difficult 1 versus 4. You see the door open up. A phenomenal stun there from Pentagram. Still walks away with the kill. You look over towards the right side, but here's where the pinch needs to happen, or at least just hold the angles. You don't want to give Cryptic the opportunity not only to continue that 4 spree, but also be able to clutch up in what would be a phenomenal 1 versus 4.
Gonna just try to keep the clock running and maybe take a gunfight here and close the round out a little bit earlier. Electrify Steel find their second round on the board. Still at match point, so have to take another 4 straight to take map number 2. But GodRx turning around the S&D here. I mean, he was the only player positive in the hard point. You know, his performance hasn't been the issue. It always been playing about as well as he can, given how the series is shaken out. Just need a couple more players to step up and help. Pander and having uncharacteristically slow games. Fame, of course, continue to have a slow map number 2. But I mean, Pentagram and GodRx and Search and Destroy, we expect nothing less from these guys. But ones that are really trying to get something going for the team, hoping the other ones can climb on board soon.
Guns over the top. Information on the Kaiser,
but
the jump shots are going to be able to walk away with 1. All of a sudden, it's 3 players down, and now it's GodRx, who, albeit has been having a good game for himself, left in a 1 versus 4, 3 Kings. Every time that they were punched and knocked down in a round, they responded 6-2. The S&D victory here on Bagage. A 2-0 series lead for themselves. From Electrify Steel, yeah, sure, you know, you're not really playing for anything right now when it comes to the rest of Stage 4, as you've already been eliminated from contention of the playoffs, but I just hope that this gameplay does not continue to keep up when we start talking about going back into the Boston Open, because if it does, it's yikes. At least it's going to be on land and compared to online.
Yeah, and like you said, they're not playing for anything as far as playoff implications go here. Like you said, you still want to be playing sharp in preparation for the land. Maybe they're just having an off day, and maybe they are just taking it light until they get to the land. Whatever case it may be, they're going to do, you know, what they need to do. But you'd like to see them put up a better fight here than what they've shown against 3 Kings. At the very least, you know, wanting to play that spoiler role of, hey, they need a lot to go their way in order to get in. Let's make it that much harder by ripping some maps off of them. That hasn't been the case. We're going to go to a map number 3 on Tuscan Control, and for 3 Kings Gaming, the way they've been playing, I have no reason other than to say that they're going to take this one in a 3-0 fashion. For Electrify Steel, we'd have to see basically a night and day performance from map 1 and 2 to 3 for me to think, okay, you know, now they've got to do it map 4, now they've got to do it map 5, and that's what position you put yourself in when you go down 0-2 in a series and don't play as flashy and as well as the opposition. And again, we keep talking about what Electrify Steel is doing wrong. That is not at all to discredit how well 3 Kings Gaming has played. That Search and Destroy, they played so well. Opened up the first 3 rounds with just a high aggressive gameplay, up in your face through the mid map, finding first bloods, trading very effectively. They slowed it down the last 3 rounds that they had to win. That ended up going, of course, 5 more. But you slow it down, you control the pacing of the game, and whenever you carve out a lead that early, well, you can kind of mess around and throw away a couple of rounds there. Some odd clutch situations that didn't go their way, no big deal, but they have very much been in control of the tempo of the series.
Yeah, I mean, look, the 3 Kings, if you're not familiar with this roster, you know, you probably should at least familiarize yourself with them, because, you know, back all the way in Stage 2 even, we'll just talk there, 2 Real was on that roster with them, and of course now he is currently at least going through some of the trials with the CDL teams, but you know, overall, kind of the thing is, you know, you get a 4th place with 2 Real then leaves, you pick up Mind in for Stage 3, and then you place top 3. All of a sudden, now we come back to Stage 4, and you're on the outside looking in for playoff seed again. Now, obviously, this is going to be more important towards the end of the games and towards the end of the season, especially with Stage 4 being the last elite throughout the Vanguard year. But with finals coming around the corner, this is not a time to start slacking off. At least they're looking good here early on in the series, but that's beautiful shots there from Thresh on the scrap. Unfortunately, won't be able to walk away with a gunfight win. We switch to the Search and Destroy here on Berlin. Ultra Academy NA up 1-0 on the side of D1 Gaming. The first hard point was actually quite close. It was a 250 to 213 win for Ultra Academy NA, but now here in the S&D with a 4-2 lead. 25 seconds left. The bomb down in the middle of the building, and it's a 1 versus 2 here from Thresh, who still has to go ahead and clutch up. Situation where he actually can. Around the corner, not going to be able to find the shots. Ultra Academy now a match point.
Another team with the potential to go up 2-0, Ultra Academy looking sound in their Search and Destroy here on Desert Siege, playing together and closing out that clutch round against a player in Thresh who we have seen throughout this Vanguard season, a player with just explosive levels of talent, someone who has been such a pleasure to watch as well. Unfortunately, unable to take that clutch situation, but another 5-2 situation where if D1 Gaming, they're going to have to turn a few things around here on Desert Siege to keep life in this and to avoid going down 2-0. And Thresh and Roop are really the ones doing it on the slaying side for this squad. Trying to get a long line of sight locked down is Thresh here on this A side, and Scrap with the sniper looking to find a pick down B lane.
If you're new to Call of Duty and you're wondering why Thresh is aggressively flicking his right stick across the entirety of the A site, he's trying to drag aim assist to see if anybody's over towards that site. Good news, though, is Thresh won't be able to get cut down by that sniper. He'll pick up Scrap, so it's a 3 versus 3. Good trades from both of these teams. Minute left on the clock. An offensive try here from D1 Gaming, trying to go ahead and push this S&D as far along as they can. They actually got their first series win against DTO yesterday. Unfortunately, they are also a team that is out of contention from getting into the playoffs here in Stage 4. Ultra Academy, though, on the other hand, they have locked themselves in. This is for seeding, trying to get the highest possible seed that they can, and being able to take the search and destroy with a 6-2 win over the side of D1 Gaming is going to help them now go to a 2-0 lead instead of this best-of-5 series, and of course help that map count just a bit more when it comes to potential playoff seeding implications. So, Cash, now that we have that out of the way, we're in map 3 of both of the series that we will be tracking here today on the streams. It's pretty much across the board. It's just been really good or rather really good gameplay from the two teams that are up in their series with the 2-0 lead.
It has been. Reverse sweeps are going to have to come in for either squad. Do I see that happening? No. The teams that are up, Ultra Academy NA and Three Kings, looking very good, playing with all cylinders. It's not one player carrying. It's a very well and balanced approach from the squads, which is what you want to see this late in the season. You still don't want to be getting carried by one player. Of course, it's different when one player has a pop-off night, but you really do want to see a balanced effort from the team. That's what we're getting here tonight. Like you said, not playing for a ton here, maybe some seedings and some placements and things like that.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the teams that have come out on fire, well, they're showing it tonight.
Well, before we get into our controls, we'll see a Tuscan here between Three Kings and Electrify, still on the opposite side of a break. But as we go ahead and step away for a moment, our coverage will continue here in just a second. My name is McCormiel, with me Cash. You're watching the North America Stage 4 of Challengers Elite. it's Three Kings and Electrify Steel going at it. Well, at least one team is going at it. 2-0 lead now for the side of Three Kings. It's been a one-sided affair here thus far through this best-of-5 series. We'll take a look at our map set here and see where we will be going. Obviously, for the control, as we said before break, we're going to a Tuscan. But throughout the rest of the series, if we need to go the distance and talk about a reverse sweep, potentially down the line, we'll go to a Tuscan hardpoint for map number 4, and we'll end things off where we just saw the side of Ultra Academy and D1 Gaming end on a map 5 of Berlin. My name is McCormiel. With me is Cash. Cash, again, this series has been, well, in the most basic terms, a thrashing for the side of Three Kings. They have looked damn good throughout not only those first 2 maps, but they're looking like they're informed from last stage when they were a top 3 team in the playoffs.
Yeah, and they're looking like a team that wants to place better than top 3. Now, to get into the playoffs, we talked about at the top of the show, they need a few more things to fall their way than that, but even getting ready for Boston, as we've alluded to multiple times, looking very strong and like a very well-composed team here as we have a look at the KDs for these players. I mean, of course, Mayan jumps out at you with a 1.16 KD. Cryptic not too far behind with a 1.02, but all around, these players looking sharp.
Yeah, I mean, this roster from top to bottom is a stout team. We saw them actually in Toronto. They placed quite well. It was a top 8 performance from them. But when we were kind of watching them play against some of the the teams that they were going up against, the big kicker was when they lost to Clay, Fellow, Johnny, and Spart. And well, as you know now, 2 of those players are on the the best team in North America at the current moment inside of the stage when it comes to overall record, and that's whatever it takes. So with whatever it takes to kind of being the end all be all at the top of North America right now, the question is which teams in the playoffs will be able to take them down. Three Kings is still trying to get there. Again, they are currently sitting at a 2-4 record. So not only would they need to get to a 3-4 record, but well, again, it's almost impossible for DTO to fall past them, as the map counts are just not going in their favor. A couple, or rather too many losses where they either lost 0-3 or 1-3 instead of being able to push the series as far as they can. And I guess that's kind of an important conversation to talk about just in these elites that I guess kind of gets overlooked until we start talking about tiebreakers. Is the fact that, if you win a series 3-0, that's you're golden. That's phenomenal.
Honestly,
but when we start talking about, a series where you lose, but instead of losing 0-3, 1-3, you want to force that at least to a game 5. You're okay with losing a game 5 as long as you're winning the majority of your other series, because if it goes to a tiebreaker, you want to have the most wins obviously under your belt opposed to the losses. And well, Three Kings sets an 8-14 map count right now comparatively to the Destroyer of the Odds roster, who would be sitting at a similar record at 14-14. So going into the Tuscan, sorry, we kind of got sidetracked there, but, just talking about this Tuscan control, for Three Kings specifically, this is a great opportunity to close this out, and it would boast the record to 11-14 on the season, but again, they would just need so much help to get into the playoffs that it's almost not even worth talking about it at this point. But we'll hop on board with Ultra Academy NA and D1 Gaming as we wait for Three Kings in their opposition to go ahead and start things up. 16-12 in the first round here. The B zone captured. It's all about getting over towards this A site now here for Ultra Academy NA with a 4-life disadvantage.
And just 60 seconds left on the clock, and a fairly decent map presence in 4D1. Thresh was able to clean up in the mid-map where Vico had slipped through, and now sitting well at the top of P2, trying to cut players off coming in from P5. A decent setup here, and only needing 9 more kills or 45 seconds to take off the clock. A fairly solid defensive performance to open things up here for D1 Gaming. It's going to look like an all 4-player hit in and through P4 train station here. Just try to pull you out for this A site.
The series where a team is trying to stay alive and force a reverse sweep. Oh, that's a bad team kill right there. That's going to force a 4 versus 3 here for the side of Ultra Academy NA, and they're just baiting and switching on the staircase. Luckily, though, Rupert will find 2. Mohawk now through the doorway, trying to find yet another kill. Hixie was there, but now it's Hixie all by his lonesome. Basically a 1 versus 3 at the point. And with 20 seconds left and only 5 lives remaining, it's going to be a desperate attempt and a foot race back over towards the point. You can kind of scratch out of the equation any sort of team push or calculated approach over towards this A site.
Player 3 and Scrap trying to fly through through P3, try to get back over to this A site, and well, you've got players on it, at least contesting it for the time being, so the pinch comes in. Kills are going their way. 3 players are on the site. Scrap trying to cut players down before they can get to the site. This is on. This is on for Ultra Academy.
2 versus 2. Mohawk, Vickle inside of the save point. First tick of progress almost there. Nades and stuns inside of the hill. This Mohawk will just try to get all the way back to 100 HP. You're going to get that first bit of progress. Tons of time for D1 Gaming here, but you see player number 6 and Aaron all the way back around on the flank. Mohawk's going to read it perfectly. He actually spotted the player at the door. Okay, 2 versus 1. Trakes has to go big here, trying to clutch up the round. Pistol not going to read the player in the corner. Ultra Academy do the unthinkable and are able to take that first offensive round, which looked absolutely desperate and desolate all the way up until that last attempt where you're able to find 2 to 3 kills on the entry break.
That just comes down to trusting your teammates, and who do we know does that better than this Ultra and a squad? The players that need to get to the point from the front and lock down the time to stop the clock. They did. Scrap won his gunfight in and around the back to force a pinch and through P3. It was just a wonderfully tossed Hail Mary, and congratulations, touchdown, you won the game, because that was just a great desperation attempt from them. Like you said, it was chaotic. There was no cohesion, but they threw it and it stuck. And for Ultra and a took an offensive round that they shouldn't have had, and now on defense, got to be feeling that much better.
Breaks up the middle map staircase. They win their trades and go 3-2 on the opening break here. Inside of this A site, at least trying to find that first tick of progress. You still have a player on the flank now. All the way down below, Scrap will get cut. That's going to allow Hixie, Vickle, and Mohawk all to get in position back here over towards this A site. Still trying to go ahead. It's Trakes, who's now on 4 in a row, looking for number 5. First tick of progress here over towards this A site as well. Nay going to be out around the corner. Force them to back off for a bit more time. That's going to be number 5 for Trakes. 2 more kills. You'll have a glide bomb to work with. Not the most influential here on Berlin, but you'll take whatever you can to help you yourselves get into a good position. All the way in the back lines. Mohawk going to be stopped. Scrap will finally cut down the streaking player of Trakes, but the damage has already been done. 2 ticks of progress on that A site. A minute still left on the clock.
And you're satisfied with that if you are D1 Gaming to come back off of the round you just lost. 2 ticks of progress on the harder site and still up lives as well. Definitely a position they want to be sitting in, and they are not giving up this A site. They want to close it out to give themselves the easiest route possible to take this offense. Well, they've got to win a few gunfights, and as it's pinstripe for the time being, player 6 is just going to chalk it up and at least start to stop this clock over on this B site for sure. The rest of the players get wiped, and now with 45 seconds left, it's going to be an all-out attack on this B site.
Trakes is the most annoying player right now for the side of Ultra Academy NA because he just got behind literally every single person. Was able to pick up a few kills and then force them to watch that player while allowing his teammates to go ahead and rack up the time as well as the ticks over towards that B zone. 17-16, 45 seconds left here on the game clock. Ultra Academy now with the flank coming through from Hixie. Might be able to make some magic happen on the backside of things, but as Thresh cuts that player down, Scrap will just be by his lonesome back over towards that A site, watching for a potential push through. Ultra Academy doesn't want to throw any more lives away over towards this A point. It's going to be another round here where they're going to have to come back, albeit on a defensive attempt, with the life advantage not looking up in their favor.
Only needing 1 tick of progress. You need 1 break. If you are D1 Gaming, Mohawk in a great position to cut these players off as they attempt to cross. Able to find 2 on a 4 streak now. Glide bomb could all but secure them this round, though it would be over at that A site. At the very least, could give it an attempt. Players for D1 now having to funnel through this bottom lane of the map and simply walking into the preempts of Ultra NA. That's 3 for 1 in the feed, and now we start to see the aggression come in where they try to set the spawn trap in fully. Still over a minute to work with, and we saw for Ultra NA, they were able to do it last go round on offense with less than 45 seconds left, so it's not over till it's over. For Ultra Academy, I mean, they are shooting lasers for the time being.
I was going to say, it might not be over just yet, but a beautiful nade there and a kill from Scrap is going to at least weaken up Aaron enough to where he's able to fall. This is where Toronto Academy NA can get so terrifying, is when they set up over towards a spawn trap on Berlin or any map for that given matter. And they're able to just kill until everybody's dead off the board. 2 players left alive here from D1 Gaming. It's looking like a 2-0 lead here in the control for the side of Ultra Academy NA. Late round theatrics not going to be there. Hixie's going to spot that player out. P5 gunfight not going to be won. Trakes and Rupert there. 1 versus 5 here for the round. And only 25 seconds to do so while getting back over towards that A site. Not going to happen. Ultra Academy 2-0 up in the series. Now 2-0 up in the control. 1 more round. We'll have themselves a nice 3-0 sweep.
A very strong performance from them. We've had look-ins at this series, of course, and haven't watched it in its entirety, but I think given this control is about all we need to see, including the tail end of that Desert Siege Search and Destroy. Hopping back over with our main game here with 3 Kings Academy and Electrify Steel. We're in round number 1 of the control, and it's going to be offense for 3 Kings, and, well, not looking too sharp for him here to start. Trying to make a play, but Pentagram's going to pop 2 to close out this round. No one going to be able to get close to the site. As I say that, okay, whew, I was nervous for a second. I was nervous that 10th of a second was going to come in. It doesn't. Electrify Steel, they come out and win a much-needed defensive round here on control. The more work they can do early on, well, the better off for them, and a nice 2-piece to close things out for Pentagram.
I was going to say, albeit it's a defensive round, that was probably the best look we've seen in Electrify Steel in this series so far. So, that at least bodes well for a potential couple rounds to go in their way. To at least extend this to a map number 4 and come back on the same map of Tuscan. GodRx 9-2 has had himself a phenomenal series for what has been a struggling Electrify Steel roster. We'll keep you up to date with the Ultra Academy NA versus D1 Gaming match as we do get updates from it. But as we switch back here, GodRx looks for the shots, at least initially, up and towards the top of the church. The players who are able to back off and survive out over towards the field. You're looking for a first couple of bullets, or at least maybe a gunfight to go your way. But as Pentagram finds a nade over the top and is able to find and will his way through with the MP40 for the second kill, that's going to be a 28-27 life lead now for Electrify Steel as you're looking for that first tick of progress over towards the ace site, and you'll go ahead and clean that up.
And then we only jumped in at the tail end of that first round. I can tell you what's different. It's the fact that two players that haven't been playing well all series, Pander and Fame, both playing much better. All players positive for the Electrify Steel squad, so the slang has balanced out at least. It's definitely swung the pendulum in the favor of Electrify Steel for this control for the time being, and that's what's going to level this playing field for them. It has been so lopsided the first 2 maps of the series that if they can hang on to this and keep it close behind some hot starts here early on in Tuscan, well, they might be able to find success and at least get a map win on the board. But one tick of progress in, and now Three Kings Gaming once again just have that strong line across the 50-yard line of the map and going to have to force Electrify Steel to work through.
Big kill from Pentagram, though. That opens the B site and forces the rotation back over from P5. Unfortunately, Yuli will be able to win the gunfight from the top of Radio, but that also goes ahead and distracts everybody on Three Kings and allows Electrify Steel's offensive attempt over towards that ace site to once again find some weight to it. Mind, middle of the map, gonna fall. Thought maybe you snap onto Cryptic for the second, but Fame is there to back you on up. Pentagram now flying to the middle of the map. Kaiser up and towards the top of the church, looking to try and find their way over towards that ace site, but as another minute gets added onto the clock and the ace site is secured, to start making a bit of progress over towards that B site, dwindling those lives down as you are right now. That is going to help exponentially.
And a great play from Electrify Steel. They cut the players down, not only the top side, but over at the P5 side of the map. Three Kings off spawn have to fly back towards this B site. Electrify Steel, they fill the lanes accordingly. It's a pinstripe kill feed for the time being, but 3 players up. Then the action for Electrify Steel to try to get a look at this B site if they can. They're capitalizing on how far back Three Kings Gaming has to play for the time being, but Mind finding a big kill in Catwalk. It's going to be one that slows down this attack. Just looking for picks. Electrify Steel, all they need is one opening, get on this, and Pander on a 4 streak, definitely going to keep that alive.
I'm going to say, unfortunate there. You don't find Yuli inside of P5 until now. That forces everybody back to the spawn side. Pander beats down Kaiser in the back of the map. 9 versus 9, 40 seconds left. Still a desperate push here over towards the B zone, but as you spot out Kaiser there, Pander's also going to get shot from the right side of the back of Church too. Staircase, Cryptic. First kill, gonna go their way. I'll get Three Kings now traded out. 3 versus 3 back here over toward the site. Still on the spawn side, Kaiser. Huge one-on-one there against Pander. Aggressive challenge, but you had to take the gunfight. GodRx down on the point now. Yuli up and towards the top. 1 player left over towards the B site for now, and with 20 seconds left, Yuli has had himself around. 11-7. What was a very, very slow start in round number 1 has turned around here for the side of Three Kings Gaming, and as they continue to find themselves some kills, it'll be another defensive round here for the team, Three Kings Gaming.
And as we have a look at the live look, Ultra Academy NA take the control 3-0, take the series 3-0, and in very dominant fashion handle that series. So for Ultra NA, just continue to try to make their statement and claim for the top team as they're going into the Boston Major for international teams. And right here for Three Kings Gaming, a good defensive round win. As you said, they draw it up 1-1. Electrify Steel on defense, going to go back to them to try to make a play. And again, with the slang being as even as it is, this is something they have to hold on to in order to keep this one within reach. You know, you play the objective as well as you want to or as well as you can, but really it starts with finding kills around the map to even open up lanes to get to the sites. It's going to be an all-out attack over at this B site for Three Kings Gaming. And, well, Pentagram's going to have his hands full here in a moment. And there's the call-out. There's the rotation. Pentagram takes a big gunfight win to slow that down.
It's the movement that Yuli has there and what Three Kings do when they want to force the aggression. It's just so difficult to win those gunfights against them. Of course, as I say that, though, it's the first 4 kills that go off the board for Electrify Steel on defense. So at least early on here, it's looking very, very comparable to what we saw in the first defensive round for Electrify Steel, where they were able to win it handedly. 55 seconds left here. Three Kings start their approach over towards this A site. You want to get as many ticks of progress as you can on each of the zones per offensive round, in case it does go to a final 5th round, where ticks of progression on each site will be the deciding factor of which team has offense and which team has defense. First tick of progress at the A site. Players now trying to run amok all the way through to the spawn side, but Electrify Steel have done a great job because now they have map control and they're able to go ahead and influence their will just as much as they want to all the way to the back lines. They're going to force spawn them all the way north in the deep, deep pits of where P3 would be in a hard point.
Panda getting very aggressive now. That's going to force the roof spawns to come in for Three Kings Gaming. But like you had said, they had the map control where, woohoo, mine pops 3, and that'll definitely shift the tides in your favor. But they did have the map control where they were really dictating where Three Kings were able to come through. And if Three Kings Gaming, they don't care. They'll funnel through A and get the ticks of progress secured. Still down 3 lives as they look to make this rotation over towards B. But gunfights going their way in and around mid-map and church, and Cryptic puts God RX down with that one.
Yeah, those are the ones you can't lose.
No.
But you do. And that allows Three Kings at least an opportunity to get a foot in threshold of the doorway. Back over on that B site. Player number 7, that's Fame. Back over towards the B zone. Pentagram now pushing his will all the way up in towards the spawn side yet again. Cryptic, one-on-one gunfight, gonna win it with the Automaton. Survives with quite literally 1 HP. 2 lives separate these two teams with a minute left on the clock. Not to say it's out of the picture just yet, but with those 2 kills and now influencing in the spawns of where Electrify Steel would be, this is the best opportunity Three Kings have had so far on offense.
They're in and through the back. I mean, they're just waiting for their teammates through the front to make a play, and that's not going to come. Kaiser going to have to make a play here at Plat just to continue influencing these spawns. Yuli also going to come up, and they have complete control of the backside spawns for the time being. Unfortunately, lose a couple of gunfights. It'll be up to Yuli to play his life and wait for the reinforcements, but everyone going to have to fly for this one. 25 seconds left, and with Yuli falling, that could very well be the round. It's going to have to be a near-perfect break coming in from Three Kings Gaming.
Yeah, it's just not going to be one of those opportunities that's going to really yield you with anything special. Sure, you're going to be able to get back over to the point, and maybe if you win the one-on-one gunfight there and have the advantage with 4 players pushing over towards the B site, it might work out in your favor. 7 seconds left. They're going to be on the point, though. You lead the first one there. 2 players now swarming here from the side of Electrify Steel. You pick up 2 quick kills. The last one up and towards the top. Sure, it's a team kill, but mine is the last one alive with only 2 seconds left here in the round. So really no streaks to play for. Nothing that is going to be super, super impactful, but it's another defensive round there that the side of Electrify Steel will go ahead and win for themselves, while also keeping 0 ticks of progress on that B zone. So they still technically will have that defensive round, at least at the moment. We'll see what they can do here on an offensive drive.
I want to highlight Panda sitting at 22 and 11 double positive and playing much better than he did the first 2 maps. God RX still continuing to have a wonderful series, and if they can find success, and if they have been in this series, it has been behind God RX. It's good to see Panda also stepping up to the plate for the team. Some slower performances out of Three Kings that we haven't seen thus far this series, but it has been on defense for the side of this Tuscan control to kick things off, and open things up is going to be Electrify Steel with this A-site control early on, and Three Kings Gaming, they're basically going to chalk it up.
My question is, what is wrong with Fame? This has not been a typical Fame series because there has not been a single game thus far where Fame has, been not only like a vocal leader of the team, but just anywhere to be seen on the map, except negative. It sucks too because I love watching Fame. I love the way he's played throughout the entirety of the Vanguard season. But again, this is just such an uncharacteristic series from him. You have to wonder if there might be something going on in the background. Either way, 25-24, 2 minutes on the clock. A zone completed here for the side of Electrify Steel. Despite having Fame Shot's going to be good. Back onto the site are Three Kings. 1.5 ticks of progress. You're looking for the second one. Electrify Steel have pretty much given up the ace site, at least for now. They might try his hand a second time around the corner here. Shots on the Cryptic. Was able to find the second one. Shots are going to be good on the mine, too. So a nice double there. A 3-man kill feed for the side of Electrify Steel. And that's a big swing because this is going to allow the side of Electrify Steel now to push their way up the map and once again have the influence of spawns for Three Kings.
All players tucked into the side, and a lot of gunfights have to go their way in order to secure this ace site. The first two will go your way. You'll get traded out for one of them, but it's the lack of mid-map control here for Three Kings Gaming that's starting to cost them. Kaiser has a huge gunfight to win and does to secure the rest of the ace site. No mid-map control, no problem, as Kaiser on a 3 streak right now, trying to keep the clock from ticking any further. Just 45 seconds left and still a battle ensuing here. Fame. Still keeping it mixy over here on this ace site, not giving up anything for free. Electrify Steel, they want this one.
Trying to extend the time here as much as possible. But if you can dwindle down these lives of your Three Kings, that might be the win condition that you need going back over towards that B site. Name up top on Church. Pentagram down below. Under the top of Fire. We've got a lot of control around the map right now. But they know where everybody from Three Kings is going to be playing through. They've let the field completely go. But God Rex is waiting all the way in the back, so if anybody tries to get sneaky, push to the spawn side, they'll get cut down. Kaiser was the first up to bat, gets knocked his head off by God RX, and now as Pentagram finds a second kill there, it's looking all but hopeless for Three Kings. As more and more kills start to go red, you've got 1 or 2 more good pushes with the lives that you have right now. You're almost in the single digits.
Pander winning wonderful gunfights at P5. All 3 players stacked up in here and trying to push through plat, but like you had said, the map control just a bit too much from Electrify Steel. Playing so deep and in through mid-map that are really funneling Three Kings Gaming through whatever lane they're choosing here. It's P5 and Fame with a double nade. Even though we got a double nade, there's still 2 players up on the site, but a beautiful you can capitalize on this. Only down 2 lives. All you need is a couple of kills here.
God RX with the top though. Gonna jump down, be able to pick up the first one. That's 2 in a row. Yuli has to stay alive in the back with Mind. 2 players to close this series down here. Pentagram up the staircase. Yuli will chase it. 5 in a row now. You look to the back. That's number 6. Okay, potential streaks here. Almost able to win the one-on-one versus Fame. You get the shots in, but you won't be able to walk away with the kill. Cryptic, stun gonna be there. 3 versus 7. Electrify Steel, again, trying to keep this series alive here. Trying to force their will to find their way to a map number 4. Kaiser, Mind, Yuli. The last 3 lives remaining here for the side of Three Kings. It would be a crazy comeback here to end this defensive round out. But for Three Kings, it's got to be desperate here. 1 versus 5. 7 seconds left. Mind around the corner. Pentagram the first one up to bat. But with 3 seconds left, you're not going to be able to get back in towards that B zone in time. That's going to be it. Electrify Steel find their first map win here in this best of 5 series. And that almost significantly even puts the nail in the coffin in what would have been a Three Kings opportunity to make it to the playoffs. That map loss right there pretty much just knocked them out of contention if they weren't already.
Though 30 and 37 isn't a flashy stat line at all, how many plays there did Fame have at the tail end? Not only over at that A site, but the double grenade kill over there at B as well. Again, not a crazy stat line, but you know what we had seen. Fame is someone who, again, can do some of the dirty work for the squad and didn't want to give up that A site, and that's what gave them that round win, right? Was not giving that up and giving Three Kings Gaming much more time to make a push because, well, as the time was ticking, they were starting to find more and more success. They end up forcing them to give up more lives than they wanted to, and therefore putting themselves in a position to win that defensively. It was all defense for that one, but we're going to go back to Tuscan for map number 4, Hardpoint, and again, you know, we said if they're even able to take this map number 3, you still have to be feeling Three Kings until we see truly electric performances. I still think it's going to be favoring Three Kings. Now, Pander goes off there at 32 and 22, and of course, GodRX having a wonderful series as well. But the whole team, they do enough to get the job done. Slower games than what we've seen tonight from Three Kings, and well, you lose that one in the round 5 fashion, but you still got to feel pretty decent going back into map number 4.
Yeah, engagements across the board were quite good for both of the 2 teams, but you know, sometimes engagements aren't the only thing you're playing for in a game like Control, where you know a couple deaths could swing the entirety of a round in the opposition's favor, or even in your favor in some degree. But you know, Three Kings they got damn close at that last round there. Not to discredit anything that they did throughout that final push, but again, it just comes back to the non-traded kills, where Electrify Steel on their defensives just look so much stronger than what Three Kings could throw at them on offense, and well, that's what led to Three Kings Kings, unfortunately, having that offensive push throughout the entirety of that last round there. And, well, Electrify still keeps their way in the series. Again, this is not one of those series where, we're really sitting here and saying either of these teams really has a chance at playoffs. You might look at the names and say, oh, these two teams should be, fighting for the top of the class. And I would absolutely agree with you in that regard. But unfortunately, this stage of the Elite, it's just not how it is here in North America. So as we take a look at our map set here, as we mentioned beforehand, we will be going to a Tuscan for map number 4, a hard point to potentially close out the series for Three Kings or keep the reverse sweep hopes alive for Electrify Steel. And, at least right now, after what I saw from that map, maybe just going back to another respawn mode on Tuscan might be enough to get them over the hump to at least force a map number 5. But again, with Three Kings not being able to 3-0 this series and with their map count and where it currently sits, that pretty much is going to eliminate their hopes and chances from getting into the playoffs, which means unfortunately they won't be able to compete at those top 4 slots for the crowning champion of stage 4 of the elites for North America.
Yeah, and you still, want to finish this series strong. If you are Three Kings, you want to take the series, and Electrify Steel, like you had said, maybe this map 4 will give them enough to push them the distance to the map 5. I mean, Desert Siege is their only S&D win, so with that, take it as you will, is their best search and destroy map. So you can take that however you want, but if you are Electrify Steel, yeah, you're going to take anywhere you found success, and that's going to be a map number 5, Desert Siege, so you want to be able to push this the distance. Now, you barely squeaked by in that one, and around number 5, you've got to go back to a respawn where you were fairly decently handled on Berlin. Tuscan doesn't play, exactly the same, of course, but still one of those mid to larger size maps that we have, and one where you can get punished if you don't have map control and presence. We've seen Electrify Steel begin to turn that around as the series has gone on. So this is actually going to be the true test for them in this series of, okay, are they legit? Do they want to take this series here and force us to a map number 5? Or was it just a good effort at control and one that they just took on a coin toss?
Yeah, I mean, control's been a toss-up throughout the entire year of Vanguard, so again, take every result that you have from that regard with a grain of salt. But I don't know. I think if you're Electrify Steel, you're kind of happy with being able to take that control, just extending the series a little bit further. Hell, maybe they're in a situation where they're trying to play from behind in a series where they go down 0-2 after the first 2 maps, and they want to try and reverse sweep as a little bit of experience for Boston coming up or anything else. Again, that is completely speculative, and I am not saying that whatsoever. But again, through 3 maps, Three Kings in the first 2 outclassed Electrify Steel in every way possible. That's not the question here. I guess the question is here, map number 4, you go to a Tuscan. Is Three Kings going to be able to close out this series now against Electrify Steel? Again, I think all signs still point to yes. But you never can count out Electrify Steel in this roster specifically. They are a comeback squad for a reason. I can't tell you how many times last season that the core 4 of Built by Gamers, obviously not without Kismet, were able to come back in series where they were down 0-2, and it happened more times than most people would like to admit, or most teams that they played against would like to admit. But they're calm under stress, and they have composure as a roster. Fame joining that in regards to taking the place of what would have been Kismet last year and a couple other players throughout the course of the season. He also has that built within him, so it's still possible for Electrify Steel. And it's always funny trying to hype up these reverse sweeps when there's not much on the table except for just a couple handshakes and all right, we'll see you in Boston.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know.
It is, yeah. But it's still interesting to talk about for Electrify Steel because, like you had said, the comeback squad, of course, but it's one where Pander has started to kind of turn up in the series. Fame, again, not an impressive stat line, but you can tell that he's starting to find his rhythm as well. Pentagram, of course, also having a good map number 3 in Tuscan. So again, Godorex was the one we've been talking about the entirety of this series thus far, and continuing through map number 3 is hey, this is a guy that's getting it done for the team. Well, when all 3 players start to wake up, I do think a reverse sweep is on the table for them. They just have to find consistency in that gameplay and keeping that slang department balanced. But looking at the KDs here, again, nothing flashy, nothing too stand out. Consistent amongst all 4 players as far as relativity and how close they play to one another, but no one really on that standout kill death ratio here for the squad. But we know what any player can bring on a given night.
Yeah, I was gonna say consistently subpar for this roster here. You know, when you look at this across the board, it's kind of jarring to say the least. Where you have the entirety of a stage, and none of these players can average over even at a 1 or over a 1 KD. And now at times, you know, you'd say, oh, that's reserved for, you know, the best of the best who have been playing the most consistent throughout the tournament. And I'd say you're right. These guys just have not been the same team that we saw when we were down in Toronto, or rather up in Toronto. So. You know, it's neither here nor there, but Electrify Steel trying to go ahead once again on a Tuscan hard point, find themselves to a map number 5, Desert Siege, prolong the series as much as humanly possible. It's kind of how they did in the first map on Berlin, where, you know, they could have closed it out at the end of P5, but Electrify Steel were winning their gunfights and just keeping their guns warm over towards P1. Finally, Three Kings were able to walk away with that win. But here on Tuscan, the results hopefully will change up a bit. Again, it's just a few swing points that can really take over an entire game. And when we go back to that Berlin, what was the one thing we said they needed to do, Cash? It was hold down P3 and run with that for 60 seconds of time. So nades over the top for P1. Mind in the Three Kings roster coming from the at least favorable side early on here. They don't have the spawns for P2, but Pentagram will lay down. Mind a one-on-one versus Pentagram will go ahead and win it. Pinstripe kill feed, a double back for both of these two teams, and Electrify Steel will come out on top.
It's going to be a clean kill feed for Electrify Steel to break and get some of this time on P1, and it's almost like, at least to open up the break here, the tides have changed. Electrify Steel now playing much more confidently. We talked about how reserved they were playing, specifically in the Search and Destroy, getting very aggressive through the mid-map and spawn side of Three Kings Gaming. We said they needed to combat it, and perhaps for the squad, combating aggression is with aggression. Whenever Pander's playing as warm as he has been as of this last map, and GodRx having a series that he has been as well, this is something they can definitely capitalize on where they can find success. But as I say that, all 3 players running in and through Church, trying to get in for P3 is cryptic. Gonna get the last bit of scrap time, at least put the squad up 5 to 10 points here after P1.
And that was so unfortunate for Pander, too, because he was reading and watching through the backside spawns in order to cut any Three Kings players that were pushing through the bottom of the Church, and he just got the worst timing. And so when he came back through in towards the little elbow cut there, unfortunately he lost the gunfight. Good news, though, you do keep on to the spawns. If you are Electrify Steel, you have your first lead in a hard point throughout the entirety of this series, so that's also a positive little spot for yourselves as well. Fame at 8-4 right now. Well, he's finally starting to tee up just a bit, and what better time than when you're needing a map number 4 win to force a 5.
They're playing with more dimension. That map number 1 was so flat and they came out so slow that they hadn't given us anything to go off of this. No matter what POV or what team we're watching, it's just high energy gameplay. Finally, Electrify Steel have decided to show up here for this one. Like you said, have a lead, though only 10 points here and growing. Definitely going to try to break in for P3. They get gifted roof spawns. Easy Panda finds the kill in the back, so that's going to lock down the rotation. But the question is, can they hold on and not get broken? We have yet to see them get a full 60-second bit of time throughout any of these hard points, and this is one they're set up for. P3 is one if you're going to do it. This is the 1-2, and Pentagram trying to control mid-map, doing just that.
Nice shots from Pander. Will lock down the main street for the time being. Off the respawn, Three Kings going to try and push once again. Pander playing different spots and towards the back of the spawn, so it's not going to be an easy and predictable spawn read. As Feynman towards the top of fire will look to the back. It's Casey Pander once again. Will find himself a nice little double there, and all the way through, Electrify Steel will win the gunfights necessary in order for them to once again reignite the flame and take firm control of the Tuscan hardpoint at this point. So 5 in a row from Pander, 2 for Pentagram. Streaks potentially on the back burner here, and number 6 there to Mr. Pander. It's looking like this could be not only a 100-point lead here, but maybe a taste of the own medicine that they had in map number 1.
They're just playing one step ahead. I mean, they trusted they had the scrap time for P3 locked down, and Fame snuck all the way through the back to secure spawns for P4. Pentagram winning the gunfights with the help of GodRx as well. And, well, that was a break in the first 10 seconds for Electrify Steel, something we haven't seen come easily on their terms this entire series. But like you had said, kind of giving Three Kings a taste of their own medicine early on. This is a completely different team. It's what we saw opening up, but it takes someone like Yuli finding 3 to shift the tides the way of Three Kings by the same token.
That was that was a gifted 3-piece to Yuli, because he was pre-firing the player who was all the way in the back right, just holding the pre-aim as he was starting to come to the bottom of the Church. All of a sudden, the second player hops around the corner, and then he hit fires into the doorway for the third one. So not to take any credit away from the 3-piece, but that one was one of the how you say, lucky 3 pieces I've seen in quite some time, but as most people say, there's no luck when it's involved in Call of Duty, of course. 2 versus 3 now, back over towards that next point. 3 players from 3 Kings already rotated on over. You see point number 3 and Kaiser holding down the middle of the map as well and looking for anybody that might try to get cheeky out towards the field side by P1. Fame, who's on 5 in a row right now, also looking for a glide bomb too for Electrify Steel. This Yuli will cut that player down. It's still going to be a 129-67 lead as the push for P5 is still underway.
And control is 3 Kings. An unfortunate Teton comes in. That's going to back mine down even further in the site. Players for Electrify Steel are going to recognize that and fly forward. But Yuli with a 2-piece and Cryptic with another still give them a chance on the site to fight forward. A 1v1 going to go down as the reinforcements are going to quickly move in. But for Electrify Steel, you get in, you secure this time. And that's behind Fame going 18-10. A complete turnaround from what we've seen. You talk about how much you love watching Fame and just how special he is to see. And we're getting glimpses of that here, especially in map number 4.
On the staircase, got our X. Pulls out the Tommy gun. See, this is a gun you see on Bacage. Like and most people will recognize this from the Pro League with Paris and whatnot. But it is something we've seen in challengers before, even up to the Pro League, as we've seen multiple times, such as the Volk when Spart joined LAG. So this is not anything new. It's just something that does catch you a bit off guard. But in P5, where being able to win those one-on-one gunfights is so crucial to holding on to the time, well, of course, pulling it out in that scenario is going to be nice. Fame decided he wanted to play Call of Duty again and turn on the monitor. 22-11, double positive for himself here on Tuscan. Pentagram in the bottom of the map, a 100-point lead for Electrify Steel. This is quite literally the exact opposite that we saw from map number 1, and 3 Kings, unfortunately, are the butt ends of this joke. They're the laughing stock here on Tuscan.
As quickly as we got done with map number 3, we're going to be heading to a map number 5. Save us some miracle of 3 Kings Gaming. I guess my only request is that I hope 3 Kings doesn't prolong this as much as Electrify Steel did the first one. But hey, still on the docket for a comeback. Still needing 70 points. Is Electrify Steel, 3 Kings Gaming could absolutely turn this around and make waves happen. Got to be a lot of things going their way for that to be the case. That includes winning rotational gunfights. And hey, mind getting things rolling here at 16-15, opening things up for P2. You got a lot of work to do, but 3 Kings Gaming can pull it off here. Electrify Steel trying to stay alive in this series and send us to a map number 5 where, you know, they found success. It was one map win on Desert Siege, something nonetheless, but they still have some work to do here on P4, or excuse me, on P2 on Tuscan.
Back spawns now for 3 Kings. If you're Electrify Steel, I mean, at this point, you can kind of just, sprint across the map, get over towards P3, hold down the back, and if you're Pander, that's exactly where you found your streaks the last time through. So with the last couple of kills coming through for the side of 3 Kings now, you were trying to play for the scraps, but now you're fully aware that everybody from the side of 3 Kings not only spawned there, but is still going to be playing back over towards P3. So as you find yourselves ready and set up back over by the fountain, well, Cash, they're poised and ready to potentially find themselves another 45 to 50 seconds.
They have a good setup for this. Pander's going to call in the streak, but if you can get a quick break, if you are 3 Kings, and by that I mean the next, 10 seconds, I mean, you could put yourself right back in this. There's still enough time on the board. The quick break is coming in through fire and through roof side. You're going to lose the first gunfight, but depending on how these shake out, they could keep themselves in this. Mind, one of the last ones up through fire, that's 2 down, and quickly running out of time. The window closing for them to come back as Electrify Steel hold on. Was on the docket. Gets that much harder, but hey, you're in with 30 seconds left, but you need every second of this.
I mean, it's a big 30 seconds, but you also get the glide bomb out of Pander and still somehow walk away with the spawns and the back half of half the hill. So you're completely okay with this if you are 3 Kings. And now with that Kaiser is set up in the back, he's got a glide bomb of his own. So now you have streaks to work with. It's still about a 60, 70 point game. Sure, you're going to need some help to get done and go all the way through, but you've now rotated all the way back over towards P4. You're in the bottom of the church, and now you're forcing Electrify Steel once again to come to you, walk into your pre-aims, and come into your fun house in the bottom of the church.
Cryptic, who was 5-15, now 13-21. Again, like you to pull one out of your book, turned on the monitor and is ready to go. Again, 13-21, not posting a crazy stat line, but the turnaround from the first set of rotations much better this go around on 4 as well. If you can get a second streak, that much better for you. Unfortunately, not going to happen. But the first 20 seconds of P4 already the way of 3 Kings. They're holding on.
35 seconds left here, the bottom of P4. On the backside. Everybody from 3 Kings starting to hold. Pentagram will lay down. Kaiser's going to be able to find those first initial shots. Fame through the doorway. Pinstripe kill feed. 3 Kings remain on top here in the bottom of the church. As you're all the way up towards banisters in the catwalk. Mind now having to play spoiler over towards the backside spawn. Not going to be able to win the one-on-one gunfight. Fame going to be there. Yuli now trying to chase, dipping and diving back around the corners, just trying to survive and play around and play his life as long as he possibly can. This is going to allow the rotation back over towards B5. Electrify Steel, they're okay with getting a bit of scrap time on each of these hills, but it's not adding up to the total that they need to win this game. 15 seconds away, but 3 Kings within striking distance yet again.
If Mind times this, he could find not only 1 but 2 kills. That's going to force Fame to have to chase, and he does just that, able to snap on the second as well, looking for the third in the hill, and not quite going to find it. Yuli just waiting for reinforcements, and all 4 players going to try to bust through here and get this one, just needing 10 seconds of time now if you are Electrify Steel to close this one out. Play your trades, keep it scrappy, and this one could very much be yours.
Rex won't be able to win the one-on-one gunfight there. Yuli now for 3, 4 in a row. 30 seconds, still tons of time to gain here if you're 3 Kings on the tail end of P5. We'll have ourselves a third set of rotations if Electrify Steel cannot break in with 11 seconds left on the clock, and with another gunfight there being won by Cryptic and now pushing out the back spawn. You have the information on 2 of those players there, can hold the pre-aims. Now it's just going to be about rotating back over towards P1. Neither team can win off this hard point any longer, but as you see player number 4, it's a one-on-one that's going to have to be won over towards the field. You have to take down Pander to save your game.
This was a 100-point game at one point. Now, just a 30-point game. But unfortunately, players going to have to really hike off spawn and fly at this. Kaiser has to call the streak in desperation. I don't know that that gives you much time because the final tick comes in. You find 1 player on the hill. A couple more were there. Unfortunately, for how electric that was building up to be, the conclusion a bit unsatisfying to close it out for Electrify Steel. Though you do push it to a game number 5. If you are 3 Kings, you wish you would have done a little more early on. And that one very much could have gone your way. They fall there, 250 to 210, and we're going to Desert Siege.
Look, Kev might have been AFK for, however long, but, he went to get milk and he finally came back. So Daddy's home now inside of this series. We've got a 2-2 tie going into a game 5. We'll take a look at the statistics here in a second, but when we do, you'll know why Kev had such a massive game there to send us to a final map. 38-26 for Papa there. 3,900 damage. We basically give him a 4K there, but that was dominance from the side of Electrify Steel throughout the first, I'd say, 3/4 of the game. 3 Kings, they had their glimpse. They had the look at the comeback. I thought for maybe a second we'd be going to the ending of a map 4 with 3 Kings having the lead, but they ice up when they need to, and they force a map number 5 on Desert Siege.
And the 29 non-traded kills is also the biggest standout for that as well. Just a walking 3-piece was Fame in that map number 4. So they go back-to-back on Tuscan. We said, is that enough to go back to Tuscan respawn and win it? They do. They force it to a game 5. And now if you Electrify Steel, I mean, it's an even playing field. You're going neutral. This is the last chance you get to knock off this 3 King squad and find yourself some success in a series. They're looking to do just that. 3 Kings. Now the ball's in your court to answer back. You won the first 2, lost the next 2, and do you have the resilience to come out and win a map number 5, albeit on Desert Siege as well?
Well, Electrify Steel, this isn't the only game that they have to play tonight. The next match here on the stream will be against whatever it takes, but we still have a game number 5 to get through. We're going to step aside, set up our Desert Siege in the back end. My name is McCormick. With me is Cash. We'll be back here for game 5 of this best of 5 series between 3 Kings and Electrify Steel. Well, I know many people didn't expect the results of 3 and 4 that we have just watched and kind of unfold in front of us, myself included. I'm sure Cash is in that same boat. But
Same boat.
we now look at a Desert Siege map number 5, Three Kings. They won the first 2 games inside of this best of 5 series pretty handily. It was a 250 to 160 map point win inside of map 1, and then of course the S&D in map 2. We saw a 6-2 victory for the side of Three Kings. So again, those 2 maps did not look close. However, we get to map 3, and all of a sudden, Electrify Steel decided they wanted to play Call of Duty again, and they played like a well-oiled machine. We're able to take that by getting, having really just a massive influence on defense. That's all it came down to. They had a very strong defensive presence, and they just let no ticks of progress really go through either on A or B throughout the majority of the rounds, and that's how they were able to go ahead and force the map number 4. We got to a Tuscan, and well, Kev decided he wanted to turn his monitor on, as mentioned beforehand, and decided he wanted to pop a 38 piece, almost a 40 bomb for the win there. So we go to map 5, Desert Siege. Rex has had himself a good series across all 5, or rather all 4. I was going to say 5, but we haven't seen 5 yet, but all 4 games Rex has played extremely well for the roster, the most consistent performer on Electrify Steel by far. Three Kings, you had your couple of dips in performances in 3 and 4. This is where you have to turn this back around. Again, this is not a game that has massive playoff implications overall. Three Kings pretty much out of contention now after they lost 2 maps to Electrify Steel. Electrify Steel, they were already eliminated in terms of the record throughout the Elite so far, so we had the game lobby close, so that is why we're back and seeing our faces. We apologize for the delay, but we'll be back in the game as soon as we can. So don't you worry, we'll take care of you. I promise.
Yeah, like you were saying though, for Electrify Steel, again, you're out of playoff contention, but you're just trying to sharpen things up and really sand the rough edges before you get to Boston. And you said maybe they wanted to play from down and try to put themselves in a reverse sweep situation. It was all speculation, but it's kind of coming to fruition for the time being. So we'll give you the credit for that one. But Three Kings Gaming, where they started off hot, and again, the slang was so lopsided in their favor. They were playing with good map presence. They were working well off of each other. Electrify Steel have just found a way to combat that. So where Three Kings have had to make adjustments, they have dropped the ball. They're going to have to find a way to adjust here on Desert Siege Search if they want to walk out with this map 5 win. Because for Electrify Steel, I mean, they have the momentum for the time being. You talked about Pander playing timid and uncharacteristic in the Bakaj Search and Destroy. We talked about Fame all series up until maps 3 and 4, not looking like himself as far as, that aggressive, confident gameplay goes. They come alive. Three Kings Gaming start to kind of slip and drop the ball in the kill department as well. So things rolling the way of Electrify Steel, what we would have liked to see from the beginning, is what we're seeing now. So, they've proved it's not too little too late, but maybe had they turned this on earlier, it definitely could have been a different series for them.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, just looking at the trends in the overall statistics for Desert Siege, specifically for both of these 2 teams, for the set of Electrify Steel, I guess we'll start with them. Their only Search and Destroy win besides a Bakaj came on this map where they were able to beat Whatever It Takes 6-4. So that is already a credible win against the team who is sitting atop of the North American Challenger scene right now in terms of record for Stage 4. But you look to the side of Three Kings at the same time. They have played this map 3 times throughout the stage this far, lost it twice, won it once, also a 6-4 win. But as we look to go forward here between both of these 2 teams, really what it comes down to is who's gonna have the ice here in map number 4. We'll have to find out. First blood not off the board yet. 10 seconds is gone. Nades over the top. Three Kings don't want to give anything away just yet here on the defensive side, but on offense, Electrify Steel looking to push this up aggressively over towards A.
We can try to find a first blood. Pentagram does just that. Bomb continuing to work up towards this A site and gonna look to go down. Kaiser trying to get an angle to take the gunfight. Gets poor timing, and Pentagram with 2 on the round. Now gonna try to get this bomb down. Yuli gonna nullify that. A 2v3 situation. Got our X. We know how good he can be with a sniper in his hand. Lets one rip, but 1v2 coming in. Win the defensive round and the clutch up for the team. 45 seconds left. If you're Electrify Steel, you just gotta find this pick or at least try to get the bomb down. They aren't aware of that Yuli has slipped through, so for Yuli, if he can find the timing, he can blow this round up.
I thought maybe Fame had spotted Yuli out. But Yuli's not going to check the bomb, so the bomb's going to be able to go down for free. So this is going to restrict him with 45 seconds. Yuli's got to be hitting himself in the back of the head right now, going out to, I just checked the bomb! 1-on-1 gunfight versus Fame.
Oh, no.
Shots to the wall, not going to be able to connect. 2 HP trying to run away, and, well, there it is. The Vanguard curse of not being able to break through the wood and the walls. Oh, I hope we don't see that next year.
Frustrating, right? Plain and simply, not much more to add to that other than would have liked to have been inside and unfortunately kept outside. round going to go the way of Electrify Steel to open things up here, and already off to a better start than Map 2 Bacage, where they lost 3 straight before they were able to get one on the board. So Pander with 2 on the round, Pentagram with 2 as well. Gonna try to replicate that success on defense here, and again, GodRx, I just get so excited when he has a sniper in his hand, because he can just make games so much more entertaining for the side of Search and Destroy, and because of that, no one challenging, at least for the time, to see if either squad gonna look to get aggressive, and basically a mirror image of the map is what we're looking at here.
Very slow gameplay from Three Kings. You know, you kind of ask the questions like, oh, I wonder why they were so good on Bacage. Well, it was because they just played stupidly aggressive through the middle of the map. Okay, Pentagram snaps on for number 2, goes for 3. Last one on the backside of spawn.
Give it to him.
You want the ace here. If you're Pentagram, unfortunately, Cryptic will come in through from behind, but gets stuck on the corner of the building. So, Electrify Steel will have themselves 2 rounds in a row off the back end of Pentagram. Absolutely spit shining the side of Three Kings.
Up 2 rounds early on, take a confident offense and a confident defense there behind him, who, again, just the turnaround has been players that had slow starts in the first 2 maps no longer having those slow performances. You once again put your attention to Panda and Pentagram, Fame at 1-0 as well, but where Electrify Steel have fallen short, they have rectified those mistakes and now look like a completely different team than when we kicked off the series. I thought this was going to be a quick night for us here in this first series. That is not the case here. Electrify Steel, in reverse sweep fashion, need 4 more rounds to do it, but really, Three Kings having to play on their heels for the time being and need to answer quickly before this one gets out of hand.
Slow push here on offense. Pentagram the bomb in hand. Spots Kaiser out and towards that top spot. Very difficult gunfight to win. As he goes ahead and destroys the barrier up top, Kaiser won't have that head glitch to work with anymore. No wall bangs to go ahead and dampen the amount of damage a bullet will do. Pentagram, though, on the right side will get cut down. Yuli, great timing. A little peek spot in through the train is going to allow them to get some information. Now it's a 2 versus 3 bomb in the hands of Fame. With 35 seconds left to work it over towards A or B, it's looking like it should be an A push here. He's going to have to win a one-on-one against Yuli.
Yuli plays this A site so well, just knows the timings, and like you said, just the little peak spots and everything. Love how well he can lock down that side. They get around on the board and answer back quickly before Electrify Steel can get too many on the board. What I expect to be a very back and forth search and destroy from here on out. Three Kings Gaming gonna go back to an offense here and gonna try to be the first squad to get the bomb down and find success that way. Really, it's just been relied on not only kills but 2 players. It's been Pander and Pentagram for Electrify Steel, and it's been Yuli and Cryptic for the side of Three Kings. Who else is gonna step up and come alive here in map number 5 to try to win it for the team? We will find out, but it is aggression through mid map for Three Kings here to start.
Pander looking over towards the right. Kaiser not willing to give any information out just yet, but the bomb will go down over towards the A site. 45 seconds of restriction here on Electrify Steel, trying to win their second round as Three Kings here on an offensive attempt. They don't know that Fame is all the way through the back lines yet, but Kaiser is going to get some information, and now they can read that that is there. GodRx, though, with a beautiful nade to help out with Fame, is going to be able to take that first blood off the board. Trade out immediately. Cryptic now going to be in a 3 versus 3 here with the rest of the Three Kings roster trying to hold on to this A site. Fame now gives away his position yet again. 2 versus 3, trying to slide all the way back around. Unfortunate timing there from Fame is Mine is going to be able to cut him down from the outside of the trains. And now as Pentagram's in a 1 versus 2, he doesn't have much time to work with here. 14 seconds left. And you see Cryptic just playing oh so slowly in a clutch spot of playing time.
Pentagram didn't hop it and played the time beautifully. Three Kings win with 2 rounds of their own on the board. Answered back very well. And Pentagram still on 3, so at least able to keep that streak alive for the side of Electrify Steel. We are drawing up at 2-2 here in game number 5. Electrify Steel on offense going to find a way to answer back and slow down the momentum Three Kings have found in these last 2 rounds. And if you're Pentagram, going to try to find a way to work towards those streaks. Can be as effective as you make them on Desert Siege, depending on the timing, but still several kills to go until we get there. But someone who, well, could walk out with an ace in this round. We wouldn't be shocked because we've nearly seen it thus far.
Pentagram at 8-3. Donut watch here from Kaiser, but as I say that, and he walks away with a kill. Fame, a nice double to open up the round. A quick double for Three Kings back in the other way, though. So You know, and it's unfortunate, to say the least, when you go ahead and you find those kills. I thought if Pander would have snapped onto him after doing a 360, I would have lost my damn mind. Unfortunately, Three Kings will lose theirs, but in a 1 versus 1, Three Kings will be able to clutch up and take their 3rd round in a row.
Great for them to find the momentum. They have been playing the timings well and going back to that crutch of aggression and playing timings. This is a squad that knows the places to hit around the map, and now they're going to find themselves on an offense where they are the only team that's really found much offensive success. Behind Yuli, getting down that lane quickly and getting the bomb down. Mind also playing aggressive. And then through the mid-map where need be. For the time being, going to be a quick B hit as 3 players stack 4 Electrify Steel over on this A side fairly heavy. Now the transition coming back quickly. Yuli gets cut down as he tries to get to the spawn.
Got close to being able to take out Godarex and the potential. But once again, Fame has popped themselves a double already here in the round. Now make it number 3, looking for the final one. Mind with Godarex over the top, spraying and praying down below. They'll be able to take finally a round off of Three Kings again to tie things up at 3 apiece. We're even all the way through our first half of the Search and Destroy. And the thing is, Cash, that right there might have been the biggest swing round thus far that we've seen. If Three Kings would have went up 4-2, I think this would have been a done deal in the S&D.
I'd have to agree with you there. And I guess the trend I've noticed really for Electrify Steel is when they're winning and when they have to win, as we've seen the last 3 maps, given that it has to be done in reverse sweep fashion. It's very close. They have to really string everything together to pull out the win. When Three Kings are winning, it's been in dominant fashion, but that's just a testament to how well Electrify Steel have had to make this comeback is because it's been such close wins and it's been down the wider degree. They've been doing everything right, and Pentagram once again opens up with the right play and getting the first blood. Yuli slips through the spawn, but Fame on 4 quickly able to answer back. Trades go even, and Electrify Steel actually find themselves up 1 life here. Haven't quite worked out a spawn yet. You're playing split if you are Three Kings, and they know your position, so you've got to find a kill here with the sniper if you are Cryptic. You're going to find one.
Flinch takes the head off. Oh, I thought maybe he hits Fame there.
That's going to be prone block, right? That's going to be prone block, right?
Yeah, probably should have, but that's not up for me to decide. Kaiser from behind is able to find 1 versus 1. Fame, Kaiser, to go up 4-3 here inside of the Search and Destroy. 5 in a row from Fame. 2 more kills will get you the glide bomb, and he just barely misses Kaiser's head on the crossback over towards the safety of that A site. So we'll slow things down for a minute, 30 seconds left. The bomb still needs to go down. Fame is terrified right now that Kaiser is around him.
He was able to get across, so he has no clue where he could be coming from. Did he play through or did he not? His back right now is to Kaiser. Kaiser just has to find the kill and does just that. A great clutch by Kaiser there to win that one and put Three Kings up. But like you had said, Fame just missing the head of Kaiser on the cross, able to slip through. And as you said, Fame playing scared and unaware of where he was coming from next. A beautiful clutch and good swing of momentum back in the way of Three Kings finding themselves up 4-3 and just needing 2 to win this map number 5.
We'll say, you know, if Fame sees that, maybe you read the full wrap around through the spawn side. But again, you checked everywhere that he could have been except for the portion that he came from. Now it's back to an offensive push here from the side of Three Kings. Cryptic tries it with the sniper yet again at long range. Won't be able to spot that player out, or at least get the pick. You'd have the information that the player's still in the back there. Pentagram nade on the bomb. Gonna know that the player is going for the plant here. Fame tries to get the long-range shots. Pentagram wants to get aggressive, but won't be able to find it. Somehow Kaiser escapes with his life at the same time. So now it's another 45-second delay here for the side of Electrify Steel. You can't push out or towards that left side because now Cryptic's holding it with the scope. And so all of a sudden, things change here. First blood to Kaiser with the pistol. Got a Rex there for a trade, but unfortunately, it's still going in the way of Three Kings with a life advantage.
I'll tell you what went wrong for Electrify Steel in this round. Now still 20 seconds left. These kills are going to have to come in quick succession. I'm going to say it's going to go the way of Three Kings with really no time left to get the kills and make a play on the bomb. But what went wrong was Kaiser, yeah, you took the taxi and don't get him off bomb, but the fact that he can get out with his life and find a kill, I mean, that's what tipped the tides in favor of Three Kings that round. You've got to find a way to kill Kaiser. If not, before he plants the bomb, at least on the way out, he was damaged enough. And I mean, just great job by Kaiser playing his life so well and able to find a kill. That's the perfect S&D play that you want to see to push yourself the distance in something like a Game 5 situation.
I don't know how the hell Kaiser got out of that.
No clue. No clue.
If we're being honest, I simply don't know. Because again, I know Pentagram wanted to get aggressive. He didn't want to get cut down first. But, you know, even if you go 1-for-1 trade, you have the bomb down over on that B site. So 4 versus 4 once again, top of the round. Here at round number 9. Bomb working its way over towards the A site here. If you are Electrify Steel, Cryptic, still with the sniper out, is locking down lanes across the map in its entirety. Mine plays up aggressive, but slow enough to be able to find that first blood. 2 versus 3. Electrify Steel now fighting for the backside once again. I guess the only glimpse of good news is potentially that you have an easy pick on a sniper if you can get up close and personal to them, but we know how good the pistol can be at the same time. So, Bomb down in a precarious spot yet again. You're just waiting to see if you can get some information on the Three Kings players, and at least that nade's going to do some damage over the top.
You play trades, you win this round if you are Three Kings. Fame able to find one and does get traded out. Once again, back and forth trades. It is now going to be a 1v1 Cryptic versus Pander for the 1v1 to the mid-map with the sniper. Can he get it?
Oof. No. Information away now. Pistol challenge, not going to be able to win it, and that's exactly what I was talking about. It's the plays right there where at the beginning of the round, the sniper is so important. Being able to lock down basically the entirety of the B site and walk away with at least some information or maybe a first blood, awesome. But it's those late round situations where unfortunately you're not able to play aggressive with the rest of your team because you have the sniper, you're playing the long range. So when you go ahead and win the trades from Electrify Steel and get the 2 kills in your favor, then you get absolutely wiped across the board. Fame at 10-6 here in the S&D. Pentagram was the one who started off hot, but now Big Papa Kev, who's come home to roost here on the deserted map of Desert Siege. Three Kings, middle of the map, aggressive with the bomb. Yuli's going to spot one out, hop over towards that A site immediately after the fact. 15 seconds off the clock here. Nade over the top from Pander.
And very aggressive is Three Kings. Bomb is going to be down. A 4v4 retake going to have to come in from Electrify Steel. Yuli also able to get out with his life. So for Three Kings, sitting in the position you want here in our round number 10. Wallbang's going to come in from Pander, and Pentagram with the long range, and P40 going to try. Has to get to the other side of this bomb in order to hop it. Maybe trying to find one more pick. Got our X with a huge kill through the back. Now a 4v2 situation. Make that a 1v. And all of a sudden, we find ourselves going to around 11.
I thought maybe right there, just maybe, in the 1 versus 4, you pull all the stops out and then maybe over the top, you're able to find something cool. But as Cryptic came flying from the top of the university building, it was a good kill and a good clutch there by the side of Electrify Steel as your players left on the bomb. Round 11. One of these two teams will walk away with the glory, winning this best-of-5 series. If it's Electrify Steel, well, that'll mean a reverse sweep. If it's Three Kings, you stop them waiting at just the right time. Offensive try here for Three Kings. Hasn't been all that kind to them thus far. First blood, always the potential over towards the B site. Slow but sure just yet on the offensive try.
Mind in a wonderful heads-up spot here just to put himself out of reach of that university door, but Pander rips the head off of Kaiser on that A lane, and now for Three Kings, you've got to rethink and rework this plant. Not only are you in a 3v4 situation, but you don't have either site control, and for Electrify Steel, you're cool with sitting back and letting this clock tick because Three Kings, they've got to make a play. The bomb has worked over to A. You expect Pander to check it here in a moment, though he may not find the kill. He'll at least have the information when this bomb goes down, and Three Kings, it's possible, it's doable with the bomb down, but you'd love to find a kill here.
But I mean, with the cover that came out from Cryptic right there, that actually allowed the bomb to go down, and it allowed it to get out with your life after getting that bomb down. So now with 45 seconds left, Electrify Steel has to go for the clutch scenario here. 4 in a row here from Pander. Pentagram's going to be able to win the one-on-one gunfight there. Cryptic now for a trade. 3 versus 2, 25 seconds. Pentagram up close. Cryptic's going to be able to win the one-on-one. 2 versus 2. You've got to go here if you're set up Electrify Steel, and Mine has worked his way around on the flank. Kills Fame. 1 versus 2. You can't clutch it up. Three Kings in the round 11 will be able to secure the series, and despite the reverse sweep attempt from Electrify Steel that got all the way to around 11.
Man.
We now sit in silence and bow our heads to the side of Electrify Steel. Great attempt, but GG's to Three Kings. That was a great series.
That was a great series, and what an electric way to close out that map number 5. I mean, just the flank play, the heads-up play to wrap around and find that kill. Fame tried to read it, was just a second too late on that, and again, for Three Kings, where we started to see Electrify Steel clutch up in some situations, they're able to have the last laugh and close things out there. They take the series, like we have said, no playoff implications. They're still going to miss out on that. I would say 99.9% probability that they miss out on that, given that this went to a game 5. But nonetheless, you win a solid series. You hold off a reverse sweep, come back, you clutch up when you need to. So for Three Kings, it wasn't the cleanest of series once we got towards the tail end, but hey, it got the job done.
Getting the job done, I guess, is the most important thing overall. Again, you know, Three Kings came into this with a record of 2-4. They go to improve to 3-4 in the season here for stage 2. The big reason that this really doesn't have much playoff implications for them is because, you know, for Destroy the Odds, even if they would have dropped a map, they would have needed help. You know, Three Kings came into this with an 8-14 map count. Destroy the Odds at a 14-14 map count. There was just physically no way Three Kings would have been able to get to a point where they had a better map count than the side of Destroy the Odds. So as they continuously will now go ahead and move on. Unfortunately for both of these two teams, that means playoff chase is done. The Elite is over, at least for Three Kings. Electrify Steel still have another match coming up next against the side of Toronto Ultra NA. That is actually going to have some implications for us because Toronto Ultra is still playing for potentially the #1 seed. But just getting back to the statistics here about that map real quick, 11-7 and 10-8 from Fame and Pentagram alike. Great maps from them. Really just good maps from everybody across the board inside the lobby. Maybe Yuli didn't have the best map, but he was trying to be that aggressive player going for those first bloods, namely over towards the A site on the defensive sides, where they were just trying to push into the spawn side while Electrify Steel was playing a bit passive. It worked out sometimes, but overall, obviously, 10 of those times it didn't really work out too great. So we have that series over and done with. Cash, it was a fun one on Desert Siege and a fun one throughout everything, but Three Kings were able to clutch up at the end when it matters most.
They did just that, and again, hats off to GodRx for having just a solid series all around. Finished that S&D 8-9, and like you said, for Three Kings, they do enough to get it done. They closed the series out, and hats off to them for a solid effort all around. They did the hard work early and went up 2-0 and found themselves where they had to just close it out there and gave them a 5 and do just that. So for them, a good solid win to get nonetheless going into Boston.
I'm sure that's like the third or fourth Game 5 loss from Electrify Steel so far inside of the Elite. So that that is something to walk away with the head. I wouldn't say hanging low, but that's something you need to clean up. Those Game 5 S&D scenarios going into Boston, as we were kind of alluding to beforehand. But we're going to step aside in the background as Electrify Steel and Toronto Ultra NA go ahead and do their vetoes. We'll get everything set up for you guys. One final match here on the Clutch GG stream. My name is McCormiel. With me is Cash. We'll be back for our next Best of 5 series. Well, apologies for the long break, but we're finally back here with Electrify Steel and Whatever It Takes, a best-of-5 series that really, again, doesn't have too much implication in terms of overall playoff standings. Electrify Steel already knocked out of the playoffs. Whatever It Takes have basically locked up that #1 seed for themselves. So this is more or less of a game to see, hey, whatever it takes. How you know, what are you going to be looking like against, again, a formidable opponent who finds himself at the bottom barrel, and vice versa for Electrify Steel. What are you looking like against the team that is considered the top North American team, at least inside of stage of formation? Cormiel. With me is Cash. Cash, we've got a decent series on our hands. I think this is going to be a lot closer than people assume.
Yeah, I think it will be as well. Of course, Electrify Steel coming off of a Game 5 victory, and I believe Whatever It Takes is as well. But before Electrify Steel, like you said, you're just coming out and trying to show if you can, put up against the best team, though that doesn't mean anything for you for the upcoming playoffs. At least it can say, like, hey, once we get to Boston, or, the next opportunity to get against squads like this, we're still a team that can put up. I mean, again, you look at this roster, and no one's going to think otherwise, of course, but someone's got to be the best, someone's got to be not the best, and for Electrify Steel, you're just trying to come out and continue to play well.
We'll take a look at our map set here between these two teams for our best of 5 series. For the start of Whatever It Takes, we look to this series as kind of a, I guess the best way to put it would be a kind of a tester, or maybe just like the final little like get a warm series. In the background, I'm being told that the map's loading, so sorry, I queued that a little early. That's my apologies, but this is kind of a series where I think Whatever It Takes. They want to win this for a multitude of reasons. One, because with a new player of Capsidol coming into the team for in place of Turiel, it's going to kind of have a complete change of pace in a lot of ways. But I think you still get that aggressive player that you need to fly throughout the map. So I think it's still going to be a good fit. But realistically speaking, you're just wanting to win all the way throughout and then go into playoffs with a full head of steam. Dropping a map to any team, especially a team that's lower down on the bottom end of the board. But Electrify Steel, first 15 points going to go their way. Whatever it takes, looking to go ahead and fly in through the bottom of Grandma's. Fellow in towards the point, looks to turn them back around, but it's been all Electrify Steel early on here on the Kosh.
And for Whatever It Takes on Bakaj, I mean, just to touch on their hardpoint differential is plus 63, so they are very favorably winning hard points, but Bakaj is actually the one where they're winning by the greatest margin. I don't even think a team has crossed 200 against them on Bakaj, so no matter how the start goes, Whatever It Takes is going to be in this until the end, and though it's a good opening for Electrify Steel, Whatever It Takes quickly trying to answer back by getting across the map, and now quickly fighting for P2. Fellow takes a big gunfight there, and takes a second as well to all but secure at least the front side of P2 for the time being. Electrify Steel still holding on to spawns, but kills going the way of Whatever It Takes, holding on from the front. A pinch developing now on the hill.
Yeah, that should just about be the spawns. Everybody spawning chaotically across the map with how spread out each team was. Brack all the way through the back line. Shots are going to be there under the back head of God RX. Pentagram in towards the point. Should get cut down here by Capsidol in just a moment, or at least is forced back into the barn. Whatever It Takes is doing a great job of breaking into P2 after securing themselves a front time for the initial time. 10 seconds separates these two teams. Electrify Steel once again on the outside looking in. But Whatever It Takes, you got to be happy and satisfied with the push that you have right now, being able to bring the game back as you have here in P2.
And for Electrify Steel, you just want to keep this one close. The closer they can keep hard points, the more success they can have. I know that sounds like a simpleton statement, like, well, if you keep yourself in it, yeah, you have a chance to win. But specifically for the squad, they're not as great when they have to come back and try to win. If they can keep themselves within a hill or half a hill of striking distance, that's where they can really start to take maps off of teams. They haven't done a ton in this stage, of course, but still up 10 or 12 points here as we go to P3. They're definitely playing harder than they started off this last series we got to view with them. All players at least firing fairly well to start.
I guess, this is a good time while he's leading the lobby right now at 8-5 to talk about Brack on the set of Whatever It Takes, because it's been a weird couple of years for Brack. He's gotten some opportunities, but at the end of BO4, it kind of felt like that was like the big breakout year for Brack, being on that Midnight Esports roster during Stage 1, where they were 6-0, beating the best teams in Call of Duty throughout the entirety of Black Ops 4. Ever since then, he's kind of been scattered around to different teams. He's played with a lot of different 2 through 3s, 4s, all that kind of stuff. But this year, he had found a lot of success with Turiel as well as a couple other players, but you know, really, it always seems like Brack is one of those teams where, you know, the top players are always just filtering in and out, and he's always found success at the top of his game, but he's never had that solidity throughout an entire year where he's just been on that same team. So it's cool to see Brack continuing it, not only to be at the top of the challenger scene, but just in general in Call of Duty. He's been tremendous, and I'm truly hoping that he gets that next big opportunity coming up next year.
Absolutely, that is a player to keep an eye on who, again, needs no introduction in the challenger scene. Of course, someone who's found tremendous success. And looking down the roster of whatever it takes, an uncharacteristically slow start out of Clayster at 3-10. Trying to get something working here is whatever it takes is trying to answer back from a 30-point deficit. An all-red kill feed and P4 secured for the time being, though not having spawns. Electrify Steel, 3 players up at 10 kills. And again, playing like a very strong squad, an opening we haven't seen from them much throughout the stage, one where they're very happy to be at the near 100-point mark before our first set of rotations is up. But once again, whatever it takes, they're the top team for a reason. It's because they can turn any situation around and find success on any given map. Haven't dropped a single hard point yet, and so never out of it until the scoreline hits 250 or that game clock runs out. But if you are Electrify Steel, you're very happy with the opening you've gotten.
Clayster not having a great start for himself, was at 3-12 at one point, so at least has brought it back to a I want to say a reasonable margin, but it's still quite bad. Cap still throughout the middle of the map, looking with the MP40, won't be able to find anything just yet. Fame, Pentagram, got a Rex, all pairing for a couple of kills, all red in the kill feed until Fellow goes ahead and decides to mix it up for just a moment. But with 49 HP, it's going to be a hard challenge back around the corner. Fame, aggressive, Electrify Steel in the lead, still pushing their will forward right now. They've done a great job of being able to not only hold on to the map, but keep whatever it takes, slaying numbers all the way down to where they are right now. And well, when you keep Clayster in a blender, it's hard to get the rest of the team pumping, because a lot of the times, the lifelines of teams will flow through Clayster when it comes to the in-game leadership.
That is absolutely the case, and now a 70-point lead coming in for Electrify Steel as we look to swing things back to P1, where they were able to get a substantial amount of time and keep spawns for P2. Whatever it takes, was able to find a good amount of time there as well, but for whatever it takes, of course, you're not going to lock a full 60 on P1, but their map spread is really chaotic throughout the first hill, and they couldn't reel it in for the second. We'll see if they can improve on that this go around, but making all of the reads and killing everyone on the map is Electrify Steel. As once again we see all 4 players go down, and whatever it takes, just unable to find footing here as we go into our second set of hills.
Needs to be a second split for whatever it takes that provides and yields them a lot of ripe fruit. Clayster at 5-17. Again, this is uncharacteristic for Clay as well, especially throughout the entirety of the Elite so far. He's been quite good for this whatever it takes roster, hence the reason that they have such a great map count in a 6-0 undefeated record. I guess that's something we should probably touch on too. They haven't lost the series yet, and the only 2 games that they've lost have been search and destroy. So this would be a very eye-opening loss, especially to an Electrify Steel team that has not made playoffs. They are out of contention. They've been out of contention. We were talking about that earlier in the last series that they had on stream. So with a 162-80 lead right now, they've about doubled up whatever it takes in terms of the score. But again, I don't want to say this is over just yet, because there's still a ton of time to work with here. There's still 3 minutes left on the game clock, which is a ton when we talk about Bakaj standards.
A ton of time indeed, and still room to chip back at it. Electrify Steel, though, do find a way to at least clear whatever it takes off, so they're not going to get a clean full 60 if they can even walk away with the rest of this time. All 4 players trying to filter and into the back, and like you had said, this would be an uncharacteristic loss just in this map alone for whatever it takes. But how often do we highlight teams with nothing to lose, you know, end up playing lights out with everything to play for, because they just, you play looser, you have a little bit more fun with it, you aren't taking it quite as seriously in the sense that something's on the line and you overthink something. They're just playing loose, and it's showing on the map. A 70-point lead that whatever it takes are trying to close, but they are flowing right now on the side of Electrify Steel.
Also a statement opportunity for Electrify Steel as well. You know, you lose that last series against 3 Kings when you had the reverse sweep opportunity in front of you. You know, if you can go up and smack them out or whatever it takes, and not only in a hard point, but to take the first hard point off them in ages, that would definitely be something that a lot of teams would have to take note of. But more importantly, that gives you a great amount of confidence, because again, since you're not going to playoffs, going into Boston, that's been the big talking point, at least thus far. Cap still up top, was able to find 1 Clayster there, pairs for it. It's going to be a trade immediately after the fact for Electrify Steel, but it is a break into the bottom of Grandma's right now in P3 for whatever it takes. So good amount of time here that they can get. Still down by about 70 points though.
Clayster starting to slowly but surely look to turn things around at 14 and 23. Again, nothing crazy, but something to keep an eye on, because as Clayster starts to turn things around, well, the scoreline also starts to turn around now within 60 points, the closest it's been since the opening couple of hills, for whatever it takes, and a very solid P3 hold in from them. The first contest trying to come in, but they have held off and stood tall as they've locked down P3 spawns and this P3 time. Now as we rotate over and have our eyes set for P4, it will be the wave of Electrify Steel for the time being, but a couple gunfights go the way of whatever it takes. This could be a messy hill.
Bottom of barn locked down. You see all those red arrows surrounding that new hill. Pentagram, nice little double there, is going to cut the players of whatever it takes off the spawn side. Brack to the top. The platform there is going to be able to walk away with a kill. Fame going to be the first line of defense here for the set of Electrify Steel, at least through the top. You get some information on where the players are going to be coming around from. 45 seconds left, whatever it takes now, and towards the bottom. It's Clayster, Brack, and Capital. Well pair for 3. Pentagram, the last one alive, going to force to back off here. And now you have the spawn trap set up here for whatever it takes. So, ARs, this is where your playground starts to begin. If you can hold down a long-range angle all the way to the backside spawns of P2, this might just be the money hill for whatever it takes.
And this could also put them within 10 points of taking the lead. It's been quite the turnaround here on the second set of hills. Now locking down not only the spawn trap, but like you said, significant amount of time here. From P3 to P4, they've been able to chain it. Even if they can't get this last bit of scrap time, any amount of contesting or keeping Electrify Steel off the hill works. This rotation is going to come in from whatever it takes. And Fellow trying to play in and aggressive through mid-map. Zig trying to slow these players down on rotation, keeping their eyes focused on what's right in front of them as P5 pops and Brack is on the time. A quick kill coming in for Fame. Capital and Fellow there to trade it out.
They get the information, they get into P5, and all of a sudden the map completely turns back around on itself. You have information. You have basically 50% of the map locked down in your favor, and now you're within 20 points in striking distance. Electrify Steel's lead here in the late portions of this game on Bacage. 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Game clock should not be a factor here towards the last couple of moments of this game, but it's got a Rex and Pentagram find too. That might just be the opening that they needed. However, a costly teammate is going to allow the reinforcements to come in. Beautiful shots from Pentagram, takes Fellow out of the hill.
And if they can get the last 20 seconds of this time, that would put them within 20 of winning the game. Now 211 to 201, whatever it takes, have rallied back in this one to push it to a third set of rotations. Like you said, the game clock not really a factor for the time being. If you are Electrify Steel, you want to close this out within P1 and P2. That's where you found the most success in this map. If you let it get to a P3, whatever it takes, just lock down a full 60 there. And, well, they played you tight on the last P2 as well, so every second counts from here on out for Electrify Steel if they want to try to take this map one off of the top dog in the NA Challengers region.
As you said it, Clayster started to tee up. The rest of whatever it takes started to go forward. However, Electrify Steel have done a great job of holding down the middle hard point here. Very difficult to do on Bacage. 50 points separates whatever it takes from a W, but only 10 for Electrify Steel. Brack some nice shots there, but you got to get in towards the middle map. Capsule has to go big here. One gunfight, one. Bottom of the barn, the second player is going to be there. Capsule escapes into the middle of the map. Somehow they're able to get in, and now Brack with a double is going to open things up just a bit more here for the side of whatever it takes. You're trying your might to get a P2 hold while also keeping Electrify Steel out of middle map for 9 seconds. You've done the job of getting the backside spawns for yourselves, but now all you have to do is keep P1 clear and hold P2.
Win condition set for Electrify Steel. They needed just a bit of time and are no longer able to do it here. Whatever it takes, though, have done the dirty work and won the P2 rotations, as well as keeping them off of the hill. Like you had said, 2 kills go down for Cap on this A side. A huge way to open this up. Now 25 seconds still needed. Plenty of time for a push for Electrify Steel, but you can't start to one-off push at this and trickle and throw away lives as they are starting to do 2 for 2 in the feed. The break's on.
And that's the problem. Capsule wanted to go ahead and push up for those 2 kills quickly, but unfortunately then flipped the spawns out. So now Electrify Steel are going to have those close spawns. Fellow hit fire shots, not going to be able to win it. Casey Pander in towards the point, but Capsule and Brack are there for some helpful shots there. 241, 237. Capsule from the bottom of the barn was able to find one. Now has to turn back around and wait for Electrify Steel to make their push yet again. Dead even here. 25 seconds left on P2. Fame trying to make the hero play up from the top, won't be able to win it, but Gotta Rex and Pander are there. Fellow Gotta Rex now with a double. 247, 241. Electrify Steel's in. Now they have to get back across the map. Clayster is the only one that can make the play here. Doesn't win the one-on-one gunfight. Electrify Steel, a 250-247 win on map number 1. We'll start off this series with a bang. It got mixy on Bacage.
Another clutch up from Electrify Steel in a tight situation. 250 to 247. I mean, shout out to whatever it takes for giving it the effort. Capsule going huge there, but really got a bit too overzealous on that A side, pushed out, and let Electrify Steel get back into that one. Down to the absolute wire. Leicester started turning up, team started turning up, and unfortunately it just wasn't enough. It was an unfortunate 4-down situation and not enough time to hike back across the map. I mean, for Electrify Steel, again, there's no better way to start off a series. You take the first map, and again, that's exactly how you want to kick this off against whatever it takes team. Like you said, you don't have a playoff to play for, but again, it's still plenty of challenger season left. You're going to Boston. You want to show that we can play against top teams.
What a comeback that would have been, though. Just
Truly.
touching on that real quick. I mean,
It
it already was a crazy comeback, but you know, that last little push there from Electrify Steel really just kind of won it over there towards the end. So 1-0 lead for them, whatever it takes. They are handed themselves their first hardpoint loss of the season inside of the Elite, which is just insane to me. That's 7 games where they've been lost really any respawns in general. So actually, that's their first respawn loss, not just a hard point. But taking a look at the statistics across the board, you know, if it would have been maybe just even a smidge hotter of a start from Clayster, doesn't get some poor timing, and they're able to open things up maybe in the middle of the map or by P2, you know, maybe you start to have a bit more confidence throughout that map. Maybe the lead doesn't grow as much as it does for Electrify Steel. But I mean, hell, it was almost a 100-point comeback that they had there towards the end. It just kind of fell apart at the end. But I mean, actually, Sport just pointed out, 3,800 damage for Clay with only 24 kills. That's almost matching both of his teammates who dropped 34 and 38 apiece. So it makes sense where he has 21 assists. But overall, that was still a good game from Electrify Steel. But you know, tip the hat to the whatever it takes comeback that almost was. But again, nobody's going to remember that because they didn't do it. So.
And there's that, and that's map number 1 done and dusted for us. Whatever it takes. Again, still in the driver's seat for this series. You have to favor them, but if you are Electrify Steel, like I said, there's no better way to start off a series. You want a chance to be able to take it off this team. Well, it starts by getting a map 1 win. That makes the road that much easier for you, and we'll look at our maps here in a moment and kind of give you the lay of the land of where we're headed. It's going to be a Berlin sandwich. Berlin sandwich with Kaj capping off both map 1 and map 5. We're going to go to a Berlin S&D here, and again, if you're Electrify Steel, I mean, Berlin's the map. You haven't had a ton of success this stage, right? But it has been on Berlin, so that's one where, they took a tough hardpoint loss there, but earlier tonight. But you're gonna go there for a search and destroy, and we saw them on back-to-back Tuska in the last series. When they can return to a map and go back-to-back, at least they've shown here that they've been able to find success and really find their groove. So you'd like to see them continue that, as they'll have 3 Berlin straight and back to a Bacage there. So for Electrify Steel, this is the best series you could ask for, given who you're up against.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, for Electrify Steel, you got spanked earlier by 3 Kings on this map, but the big concern, at least for me, is whatever it takes. When they've played Berlin, they've been flawless on this map, map and mode specifically. The only S&Ds they lost have been Desert Sieges, so that should be eye-opening to some degree. But I mean, specifically what I mean when I talk about whatever it takes, being able to take those S&Ds, it's not against like D1, all these other teams. No, these matches come from against Ultra NA and DTO. So when we look at those two kind of overall selections for them being able to take those Berlin S&Ds, that is already precedence against what most considered the number 1 team in North America coming into this at Ultra NA, and they are so when it comes to challengers points. But being able to beat them on one of their best S&D maps was eye-opening. So for Electrify Steel to have such a low and bad start to the map, and just really a sloppy S&D overall against the side of 3 Kings earlier, it doesn't bode well for this S&D here, map number 2. But just taking a look at the KDs for everybody for whatever it takes. I mean, normally a .99 is solid, but on a team like this where it's a 112, a 118, and a 104, barring obviously Capsule hasn't had big map selection as he just joined this roster, a couple days ago, but it's still across the board interesting to say that the .99 is negative influence on this team.
Yeah, and again, Clayster with the 1.18 needs no introduction. You know what he's going to bring night in and night out. So when he's rolling, the team's rolling. It's a fairly simple recipe for the squad, but it also helps whenever you're surrounded by players as good as Fellow and Capsule and Brax. So Clayster, you want an IGL that can get the job done, surrounded by 3 players who are always going to come up to the plate as well. That's why this whatever it takes team has found as much success as they have, and really no different start here. Trades go even, but for whatever it takes, they're trying to hold true and work this bomb site. Clayster with a big opening pick.
Trying to trade this back here if you're Fame. Forced to back off with an MP40 all the way over towards the dockside. Usually the area is reserved for the ARs later in the rounds. Placed it through the middle of the map. Going to be able to pick up one from behind. Trying to go for the ace. Wasn't able to find it, but it is going to be a nice clean sweep there for whatever it takes in round number 1 as they start their Berlin search and destroy with a nice pat on the back and a round in their favor.
Good opening for them, and you take a tough hard point loss that comes down to the wire like that. You know they're going to come out with a vengeance here on Berlin S&D. Clayster does get all 4 in the round there, so again, you know he's not going to be down for long, even if he has a bad map. That's someone who can rally back at the turn of a hat. They open up with a big one there, and now on defense, going to look to see what strategy they take. Looks like a 2-2 split A and B, and Electrify Steel, all 4 players going to this B site. You got to at least find a kill to make this that much easier.
Sorry to misspeak. Clayster did get that ace there in the first round, so my apologies on that. I thought the player that was looking over from the P2 side was able to get that kill, but I am proven wrong. So Clayster with an ace there. That completely makes up for the beginning of the Bacage hard point that we saw in map 1. With a 1-0 lead right now, the bomb on the offensive side for Electrify Steel working its way over towards that B site. Player inside the site right now is Fellow. Pentagram's going to run across. They know that the cross is coming through because you have some information and some shots taken all the way from Clayster, who's watching it, but his Fellow's inside with an MP40. Pentagram is thinking wiser of challenging directly through those doors. He wants to try and go ahead for a gunfight win, but Clayster, oh so good in the back, survives with 30 HP and gets the first blood for win.
And for Electrify Steel, I mean, of course you don't know it at the time, but you had numbers for the B site. You have to make that play that much quicker because what's the rest of whatever it takes doing? Well, they're just kind of deducting the rest of the map and figuring out, okay, I mean, Brack was able to work all the way to the spawn, and now they have a complete pinch on all of these players. When you make a B push that slow, it allows the defensive team to clear out what's left of the map and say, okay, they have no choice but to be in warehouse and over at dockside. And, well, the kills start to go their way. You know where God RX is, and you just expect the timer to run out at the very least for this. But a great way to play that if you are whatever it takes. Yep. And just a bit too passive and slow from the side of Electrified Steel.
I was going to say that actually is a really, really smart play there to end that round out. You know you're probably not going to win the 1 versus 3 there, but where is Clayster on the map? Well, you knew that he was all the way in the back of the spawn. He's probably going to be sitting there because he's on 5 in a row and doesn't want to take a stupid gunfight and risk losing the streak in the process. So what do? You go ahead to the back, you get the preem. Yeah, sure, you get the timing as Clayster's not looking over towards the right side door anymore, but you walk away with the kill and you walk away with streaks getting knocked off the board for whatever it takes. So Electrify Steel back on the defensive side. Bomb working its way in towards the middle map, looking like it might go over towards the B site to start things off here, and it will. Fame going to toss a nade and a stun over the top. Going to be able to find some information on where this bomb is going, or at least where a couple players from Wit are. But as GodRX picks up the first blood here in the round, he once again continues his streak of good games against their opponents.
Another slow B approach coming in from whatever it takes. Of course, losing Clayster in the back definitely makes you rethink your strategy there. Electrify Steel not really capitalizing on any map presence there. Fame, the furthest pushed up over on the B site, and we're going to start to see a rat back work towards this A site. Still shots getting thrown in, and that'll keep Fame over there at least for a little bit longer right now for whatever it takes. You're rotating with minimal information, and Pentagram now able to spot Fellow top 3rd, and they know some kind of rotation's on.
Well, that's good information, but if the nade is able to connect up there, it's going to weaken Fellow off, force him to play slow here, maybe force him to drop down, and at least you have the information. There it is. Fame's going to be able to come up, clean up the kill. Capsule still alive, though, with Brack. It's a 2 versus 3 scenario here. Would be a 2 versus 4 clutch. With 25 seconds left, Pander all the way in the back is going to take care of Brack around the corner. The Caps 1 versus 2. It would have to be here. Technical ace in the round, so he's able to clutch it up. Bomb has to go down, though. With a 45-second timer now on the side of Electrify Steel, you might be able to get some good timing if you get away here, and he does.
Oh, this is beautiful. I mean, this could be a 2-piece shooting players in the back if he plays the timing and has the trigger discipline, but that corner that they tucked in, they opted not to hop it, and this could come to bite Cap. GodRX, they're trying to play it patiently.
He's going for the defuse, though. 1 versus 2. Gonna spot the feed out. Gonna be able to shoot him. I think he might have spotted Fame at the exact same time, too. But now Fame has to chase all the way down the staircase. Fame all the way back around. Gonna get the shots in. I thought it was gonna be a technical 1 versus 4 there from Capsule. But Fame playing the trade with his teammate after he hops the bomb is just going to do enough to be able to secure themselves the round and get their first on the board here on Berlin. A little bit closer than what we saw against 3 Kings earlier on, but that's quite easy to do when you got spanked.
A great response out of Electrify Steel to keep themselves in this map number 2. And again, we were only 2 rounds in, of course, but you want to keep yourself within striking distance and search and destroy. It's so much harder to come back when you have to win consistent rounds back to back to back. They're able to answer here and just find themselves down 2-1, still up 1-0 in the series. So not to negate any work that they've already done so far tonight. Whatever it takes, trying to rectify for the wrongs they made the last round, and Brackets pick off the map, but Clayster with a beautiful place tact is able to answer back. Fellow trying to put lasers in over and up at P2.
Penta popped open that door and then pooped himself because Fellow was staring directly at him. Shots were there. Hid away in the corner for a moment. So it's going to stall things out here for a moment with a 3 versus 3 minute on the clock. Got our X with a sniper over towards that B zone. Just looking for a potential pick. This bomb's going to wrap all the way back over towards this A site. Might get some good timing here, but Capsule might just play spoiler to the fun party.
His patience and timing didn't quite work out the last round. It ended up resulting in him getting chased down and getting killed, but it works out here, at least for one. Fame able to trade it now. Clayster has the information on where the rest of these players are. Can he take both? Doesn't quite get the timing on Fame, and Fame with a cheeky angle. Able to get Clayster now 1v1, and Fellow going to be coming in through Hall. Might be able to spot him at least and get that information. I think he did. We'll see how he looks to play.
Oh, but Fame hops out the window. So once again, he gets some really good information, but Fame needs to go and check around the corner. AR out, wants to take the gunfight. Not going to check just yet. Okay, Fellow. I thought that was going to be like the worst timing for Fame in the world, and he would have been so pissed off if he wouldn't have been able to find that kill there, because he just played that jiggle peek for like half a second. I don't even think he saw it at first. I think his teammate probably called it out and like maybe saw his name tag or like his hand or something like that. But fortunately enough, they're able to take that. 2-2 we go here inside of the search and destroy. It was 2 rounds or whatever it takes to start the game out. Ever since then, it's been Electrify Steel. Clayster having himself a game. Started out at 5-0. Calmed down just a bit. 2-3 since then. But you look to the opposite side, and guess who it is? It's Fame on 5 in a row. 6-2 here in the S&D. He's once again the shining star for Electrify Steel, as he was in the last 2 maps of the last series.
Search and Destroy being the weakest mode of whatever it takes. Electrify Steel know that and want to capitalize on this the best they can, because, well, that would also put them up 2-0 in the series. And I keep saying it, but the more they can win, of course, the easier that makes their series. To go up 2-0 against whatever it takes would be huge here for them. Fame gonna try to play around streaks, though, and get that information. And opening and shutting the door doesn't quite pan out, but Pander able to find 2 there, at least to help mitigate the mistake that was.
Back in the clutch spot for the staircase. Through the doorway. I actually don't know if they were spotted out or not, but Pander turns around, maybe able to find the one-on-one. Clayster, though, looking all the way towards the back. Has the pistol out. Does GodRx spot out Clayster? No. Drops all the way down to the floor below hand. 15 seconds left. GodRx needs to clutch up here to put them up 3-2 and take their first round in 2 straight. But unfortunately, with the timer now running down for Electrify Steel, you won't be able to go ahead and find the gunfight win. Clayster will get up close and personal, improve to 9-3, while whatever it takes improves their lead to a 3-2 in margin.
Great timing. GodRx was trying to find the kill, opted not to try and hop, and Clayster doing what he does best. Clutching up for the team, and like you had said, going up 3-2 here in the series, going to find themselves on a defensive approach once again, and Sniper in the hands of Clayster. We know how dangerous that can be. First Bloods, though, going the way of Electrify Steel, at least as of the last couple of rounds, they've been able to win. So for them, finding success behind that, and for whatever it takes, finding success in the mid-round kills where they're able to trade out much better. Little 1-2-1 split coming in, at least for the bomb sites. Clayster playing deep in the spawn, looking down B once again with the sniper, but it's an all-aided hack coming in from Electric Steel.
Capsule decided to get aggressive, go through the backside spawn, so that's an easy pinch play if they want to have it for whatever it takes. But up close and personal, Pander's going to be able to win the one-on-one versus Brack in the way of Automaton. Capsule, as well as his teammate in Clay, looking all the way back on the site, not allowing that bomb to go down just yet. Pentagram playing slow inside of the office, hops up and looks to the staircase, is able to go ahead and beam Capsule off of that heady. So 45 seconds, 3 versus 2. Pentagram 1-5 in the game thus far, hasn't had a great game for himself. If there's anybody I'd want alive right now, Clayster's the guy to be it in a 1 versus 3.
And quickly wiped off and answering back to draw this up at 3-3. You had the players alive that you would have wanted, but Electrify Steel play patient around that A site and are able to find the kills they need. Pentagram finding at least 2 on the round there to get the ball rolling for him, and no better time to do that than the midway point of this map to search and destroy. Offensively, finding success, now back on defense, going to try to take another round lead here. And I believe this would be their first lead in the search and destroy if they are able to take this round, but semi-solid performance from Fame, GodRx, and Pander. Of course, Pander 7-5 and on a 2 streak. No one streaking for the side of whatever it takes, but Clayster sitting at 9-4. Looking to see if he can start to heat up again here in this mid game.
Quick plan today. Going to force Electrify Steel to wrap over immediately, but are whatever it takes players going to be set up in the position that they need to after that first blood comes through from Pander. Fellow won't be able to stun out Pander over on the staircase. Nade's going to be there, though, and unfortunately, since he's still trying to cook that up, he's going to weaken Pander, force him to back off for a minute. 3 in a row from Pander, 2 from Pentagram. Fellow up on the staircase, going to be able to get into that A site back and alive with his teammates in a 3 versus 3 situation. 24 seconds left on the bomb here. You've got to win these gunfights here if you are Electrify Steel, if you obviously want to take the round, but as Pander will drop down, isn't able to find it at first, but now it's a 1 versus 3, all the way from behind. The bomb will be defused. And with Electrify Steel swarming that site all the way back and around, they were able to create a pinch play for themselves that works out masterfully to give them the 4-3 lead here in the search and destroy. They're in the lead for the first time here in S&D.
And for me, Brack was in a position just to check long haul and get a kill. He lets Pentagram find one and then gets traded out by Pentagram as well. So Brack was just a bit too slow in giving aid to the rest of the team. Electrify Steel, good on them for playing the timings and playing that as well as they did. But yeah, finding the lead for the first time, like you had said, is going to be Electrify Steel here, and a much-deserved lead at that. Pentagram, who started off 0-5, now 4-5, on a 4 streak as well, can come alive in the blink of an eye, and favoring this A site once again on offense. Whatever it takes, though, they're ready. Well, something like that.
Unfortunately, T-Fel will fall. Around the corner, Capsule. Nice trade. Ooh. Snaps onto Fame for the second one. Beautiful double there. The big man himself, Capsule. 1 versus 3 here from GodRx. Slowly looking like it's going to be a 4-4 tie here in the search and destroy. And as quickly as whatever it takes, had a bad start to the round. Electrify Steel, unfortunately, meet the big hands of Cap.
And for Electrify Steel, what's kept them in this, though, again, not favored for them to win this round, of course. They're keeping themselves close within striking distance. We said they needed to do that for the hard point. They did more than that and kept a 100-point lead, though it got mixy there at the end. And now they find themselves up around as well. So where they can keep it close, they can keep themselves in a much better position. And again, even if a game plays 250 to 247, you're still up 1-0. Even if you win 6-5, you're still up 2-0. So they're going to take what they can get here. Leister going to sniff that last kill out and draw things up even as we go into round number 9.
Bro, he just like bounced off that door. Like he wanted to break it open and try for it, jumps all the way back. Luckily enough, Clayster's there just around the corner waiting for pop up. So that's a nice little 1-2 combo. Big double from Capsule allows them to go ahead and once again take the advantage here in the S&D. Again, Tyler's not had himself a good S&D here by all measures at 2-7, but Pentagram has turned his around. It was 1-5 at one point. Ever since that point, now it's just 4-1. So with Pentagram heating up and Electrify Steel being able to potentially take the reins here in a defensive round, it's a very aggressive hit on the offensive push from whatever it takes. Nade's going to be out, forcing players to back off, but a stun is going to read these players out. Unfortunately, GodRx doesn't get the attention quick enough. He challenges the wrong angle. Fellow walks away with a gunfight, and now that's not only the site. Bomb's going to go down here. Fame can't play spoiler. 4 versus 2, a retake for Electrify Steel for match point.
Great awareness from them, and if Fellow's going to find a kill in a round, it's going to be that opening first blood, a big one, just to get clearance on that site. Brack able to pick one long range against Pander. Now Pentagram left in a 1v4 situation is able to find one, but it's only a matter of time before whatever it takes that round. And like you had said, they put themselves at match point to draw this up 1-1. Electrify Steel got to answer back with 2.
A really good round right there. Winning your 1-on-1 gunfights, being able to play aggressive over towards that A, or rather that B site. Electrify Steel weren't ready for it. They had to pay the ultimate price of losing that round. Now they're down 4-5. Whatever it takes, still trying to tie this series up 1 apiece. The offensive round here from Electrify Steel, they've been able to win a couple of these inside of the Berlin Search and Destroy thus far. Unfortunately, as of late, it's been kind of wishy-washy back and forth. Pentagram now making his way up. Fellow going to be able to find that first blood. Oh, so crucial in a round where now they have the advantage over towards the B site, which is exactly where Electrify Steel were looking to bring that bomb. And as you have a player all the way back playing long distance, trying to play spoiler, you have Clayster and Fellow over by the docks and inside of the site. Fame with an automaton. If you're the first one to push here, it's going to be scary. But another 2 versus 4 here as Fellow finds yet another kill on 3 in a row. Again, we said he hadn't had a great S&D, but he's put himself in such great positions to win these last couple of rounds.
It just takes a couple of rounds of coming alive at the right time. Fellow has done just that. And again, it's the reason why whatever it takes is in the position they are to take map number 2 in a 6-4 fashion to draw the series up at 1-1. As I was saying, that's behind the effort of Fellow able to find some big first bloods in those final 2 rounds for whatever it takes, and the team just closing it out behind that. So a good bounce back map from whatever it takes. You don't really expect anything less, but it was played very, very hard and very well by Electrify
Yep.
Steel, Panda at 9-9, and Pentagram able to kind of come alive there. Just unfortunately wasn't enough at the tail end of things. So whatever it takes, you want to try to close out the next 2 and take this one in 4. Electrify Steel. Got to go back to a respawn where you won your last control today in a game 5 fashion. A bit more formidable of an opponent, I would say, in whatever it takes, but anything's possible. And again, by taking map number 1, they've shown us that they are capable.
I mean, at least, if you are ESG, you've shown that you can play a better Berlin Search and Destroy than you played against Three Kings, so at least that's an improvement in that map specifically on the mode. But, I mean, for whatever it takes, it's that composure. You start off big, you go up 2-0, you trade back and forth a couple of rounds, but I think really the biggest thing is that throughout the entire game, we had a few moments from each individual player on whatever it takes that just had their pop-off moment. Obviously, Clayster at the beginning of the game, the ace, but then being able to play consistently throughout the rest of the game. You had Capsule, that big 2-piece that allowed them to retake the site over towards A in the round where they had already had a 4 versus 3 disadvantage, and that could have been easily the match point there for Electrify Steel, but whatever it takes, we're able to win that. Fellow, those big first and second kills throughout the multiple last couple rounds were really big. Even though you were at 2-7 at one point, you went huge towards the end of the game, and then Brack was consistent as ever, finding those big, he had a couple first bloods, but he didn't die too much off the rip, and he was able to find a couple of crucial kills here and there in clutch situations. So whatever it takes, a good search and destroy. We're tied back up at 1 apiece overall. It was a good game for both of those two teams, but at the end of the day, there's still going to be a lot more Call of Duty to be played. We have 4 maps guaranteed for us, another Berlin coming up. Actually, we're guaranteed 2 more Berlins. So on the other side of this break, we'll set up our control, we'll get back to business, and Electrify Steel, and whatever it takes, we'll do battle once again. My name's Cormill. With me, Cash. We'll be back after a break. Back to Berlin once again, tied series at 1 apiece. Whatever it takes, win the search and destroy 6-4 to put us to a map number 3, where the winner will go ahead, find themselves an advantage in this best of 5 series. Whatever it takes, the best team inside of stage 4 for North America in the Challengers Elite Series thus far this season, rather the stage. However, Electrify Steel, they are trying to do their best to play spoiler, knock them down a peg right before playoffs. Playing with Capsule now as a new teammate here at the tail end of this stage, as it is 2 Too Real, who is in some of the trials with some of the CDL teams in the background. First minute and 10 seconds now on the clock for the side of Electrify Steel, who is on the offensive attempt over towards that A site. Unfortunately, the assault doesn't work out, and there's a man named Capsule who's walking everything down in the middle of the map.
Playing like the big man on campus, Berlin has been his home, at least through the start of this, and definitely in that map number 2, someone who really, once he gets up close and personal and can work around the nooks and crannies of Berlin, finds so much success with that aggressive SMG play. Nothing different coming on here, but both points being captured at the moment. For Electrify Steel, trying to stop the clock and trying to work some of these kills, forcing whatever it takes to make a decision, but Casey Pander opening things up and pushing the reinforcements back from whatever it takes here on this opening break. Not only are they up lives, but nearly 2 ticks of progression in A before all the players get wiped.
I'd love to see that second tick come through if you are the side of Electrify Steel, but in the meantime, you still have the clock stalled out. Second tick of progress over on this B site now going to come through. GodRx lays down, patient as ever, able to take down Brack from the top of fire. Whatever it takes, decide not to push any more bodies over towards this B site. It'll be a 22-20 lead on the offensive side of things as they start to push back over towards this A site. It's going to be difficult, but the good news is whatever it takes to have been pushed too far up the map. But his fellow and Clay will pop for 2. It's going to severely stall out the push from Electrify Steel back over towards that A site.
Fellow trying to find another kill around P5 and start to set in the spawn trap. They know they've cleared out B Street, now trying to rotate back over and find the remaining kills as players look to push through long. GodRx at least tries to soften the defense with a kill in through P5. Pander also giving it a crack at it and finding success. That's going to be 3 for 1 and make that all 4 down as they're now able to flood forward and fly onto this point. Already a tick of progress in, but still some work to do.
It was Fame with a kill there. Fame with another 2-3 sprees and a 2 spree for Electrify Steel now. Capsule on the back staircase trying to play spoiler on the flank, was trying to get shots into Fame. Was able to do so, didn't weaken him up, and as they stack the point, Electrify Steel make quick work of those last 2 ticks over on A. They're able to take the first offensive round here on Berlin. A beautiful round of respawn gameplay from Electrify Steel.
Great way to take an opening round. They find themselves striking early in the respawns and up 1-0 here. Try and go up 2-1 in the series. Great starts from everyone for the side of Electrify Steel, and the respawns, again, it's just different. Whether you tuned in earlier or not, from what we saw earlier within the first 2 maps, it wasn't very good on the side of respawn approach, and this go around everyone, starting off blazing hot and really knowing where they want to work their spots on the map, finding positions where they can be successful and capitalizing on those positions. But as I say that, it is Capsule who opens up with a trade with his teammate. Fellow now working over towards this A site. Pinch coming in from Fame at the bottom to try and play spoiler, but whatever it takes, they're getting the job done here early.
The hard gunfight lost there by Pander. Unfortunately, wasn't able to hold out any further. Almost looking like a picture-perfect round from round 1 here. Second tick of progress, not in on A, but unfortunately for the side of Electrify Steel, you can't kill Capsule on the point, and that's going to give you 2 ticks of progress immediately over towards this A site. Brack, another kill onto Fame. Pander trying to go ahead and get back in there too, but nobody is going to be able to get in towards that A point in time. So with a 5-life lead and 2 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock, you storm the A sites, flood it completely, and now can move back over towards B in the mailroom to try and capture the P2 point of B.
And where whatever it takes is, as they start finding these kills, as they work towards B, it's going to spawn Electrify Steel so far out. If they're able to find these players 6 and Clayster, just trying to cut them off spawning in P3 and hoping his teammates can win the gunfights in and around the site. Capsule able to trade out for 1. Pander, back and forth we go. Pentagram winning the final gunfight, at least for the moment, trying to negate this progression. Fellow back on the site, and Clayster starting to work down Doc's side to give some assistance, but close spot here. Not able to capitalize just yet. If you're Electrify Steel, you're holding on.
2 nice kills from Fellow. Brack over the top will have some help. 8 life advantage now for the side of whatever it takes. Now make it 9. They're inside of the point. Nobody from Electrify still really able to do any damage. Sure, you have Pentagram and GodRx who are still here and trying to fight back over towards the zone. Finally, maybe you're able to stop it for the moment and will, but his Fellow was on 5 in a row. Pentagram tries to do his best impression of the man out of L himself. 2 ticks of progress on the B zone now. Looking for the final one. 8 versus 16. Doubled up on lives, but as the 3-man feed now goes to the side of Electrify Steel, that might open the door to an opportunity to hold out in defense.
You're up this many lives and just not able to get close. You have 1 minute and 21 left on the clock. Time with you having to go to the B side is not going to be a problem. It's going to be a matter of not getting wiped too many more times. Not only do you not have many lives to throw back at it, but you just don't want to give Electrify Steel any life over on this close side. Capital opens up with the first one. Rack able to follow suit. Now you have outside control of the rest of the play. Goddard able to find 2 big ones in the site just to slow things down. Fame reinforcing people to come in and pick up the last 2, working in tandem. Electrify Steel, they hold off once again. 57 seconds, but those lives getting that much closer to even.
I was gonna say that might have been the nail in the coffin with Electrify Steel going and get those 2 kills when they were getting back in towards that B zone, but stall out for just a bit longer. Brack, who was there, unfortunately won't be able to get any more kills there. Got a Rex from the top, has to go massive yet again. Was able to get some shots on the Clayster, won't be able to walk away with a kill, and as Fame falls, it's another offensive round here, this time for whatever it takes, as we're tied at 1 apiece inside of the control. Dead even, not only through 2 games, but through the first 2 rounds of the control here. Now back to an offensive attempt for the side of Electrify Steel.
And an interesting thing just to keep an eye on as we go forward in this control, what I would expect to play close for the remainder of the time we're here, they didn't get that final tick of progress. It ended up coming down to lives. They found the final kill, so they only got 5 out of 6 ticks of progression. That will be interesting just to kind of keep in the back of our minds going forward if we end up going to a round 5 situation, given that both teams have found success on both sides. If Electrify Steel can get both sides once again here on offense, that can definitely set them up well going forward, even if they happen to lose another defensive round. But opening things up with the first bloods, Clayster going to find 2 early ones and slow down this attack. Brack able to do the same, and now on 5, Clayster on 4. If both players, even if just one could get streaks, that would bode so well for this team here on this defensive attack.
11 straight between those 2 players, unfortunately, will fall. Now it's just Brack by his lonesome playing for a streak for the Swit roster. A site completely locked down on defense. No hope whatsoever. Electrify Steel, they try to replicate what they did in round number 1. Fortunately, that doesn't pan out for them. 45 seconds left here in the round. They're trying to get back over towards B, stop the clock for a bit of time, but more importantly, just go ahead and get themselves some ticks of progress on one of these 2 sites. 3 life advantage now, as it gets smaller and smaller throughout the course of this round thus far, but as Electrify Steel getting towards that B point, it's still Capstone in the middle of the map, and you're just looking for Brack to maybe pick up the streak. Finally will, as he finds the kill on the Fame. 7 in a row, gets the glide bomb, and now you have a utility in the back pocket if you are Wit.
And just like that, where Brack falls, Clayster is able to rotate in position and keep Electrify Steel spawning deep on that top right corner of the map. That should grant them the B side. I don't know that whatever it takes is going to give this one last look, and they won't, but the spread to this bottom portion of the map, all lanes locked, and trying to at least cut off openings that are coming in from the side of Electrify Steel. Pander able to find 1, Pentagram able to find the 3rd, just 1 more needed, and flying forward onto this A site. Electrify Steel, they want to take another offensive round.
That was the opening they needed. Fame's able to find another double. Tries to snap back to Clayster. Isn't able to find it. 2 players at the site now getting doubles. Both sides being able to trade out. Now it's a 3-2 advantage for Electrify Steel as they get more kills. I got a Rex all the way through the back. Was able to pick off Fellow. Clayster still in the corner. Pistol shots trying to go to the window. Won't be able to find it. Nade at the feet. Has to run back around. First tick of progress not there just yet. Trying to fly in now is Pentagram through the backside for help. Brack on the flank is able to find some shots through the wall. And now through the windows, Brack has to go for another kill on the Pentagram, who has also another player swarming to the feet. Tries to snap on it too and can. Now it's Capstone and Clayster trying to fly back to the point. Pander inside has to go not only for 1, but potentially even 2 to 3. Escapes out into fire in his life, but there's still more people and more players flying in from Electrify Steel.
Pander bought enough time for the reinforcements to come up. Now they're cutting all the players down from front of fire. It is just 1 player left in Capstone on the site, clearing the progression, so that is going to aid a bit. But GodRx winning kills in and around P3 just to turn a couple of heads, whatever it takes. Still got Mixie for a second. Still trying to find form and doing just that. Capsule slides out for a big kill, and regaining site control is whatever it takes. 50 seconds left, and down 7 lives. This still could favor Electrify Steel. All you need is 1 break, but kills for the time being going away, whatever it takes.
Yeah, that's the kicker, being down in the life advantage. 7 still separate the 2 teams. 12-5, 35 seconds left. Time in the advantage right now of whatever it takes. You get 1 good team wipe here. Maybe, just maybe, you're able to go ahead and clutch this round up. 4 lives, no respawns remaining here for whatever it takes. Through the window, Fellow with the pistol is able to find 1, but all of a sudden, it flips him around immediately. Brack from the spawn side won't be able to push to the hill in time. Another offensive round win. Every single round has been an offense here thus far. That might be a first for Vanguard, for me at least.
I'll even add on top of that, every round that, of course, has been won has been offense, but the teams have also had the life advantage, and that's crazy too, because usually it comes down to a last respawn or 10 seconds left. We just have to throw a Hail Mary at it, whether you're down 7, 10, 15 lives, doesn't matter. both squads have been up in all of their offensive rounds here to start, and they have won them. So I would definitely say that is a first for me as well in Vanguard. Very much offensive heavy here on Berlin to start. Can someone make a stand on defense? Well, we'll just have to find out.
I love that play so much here from the side of whatever it takes. But unfortunately, Electrify Steel were kin to it. They tried their might to hold like 3 players by the train station, not show themselves just yet, allow either Electrify Steel to rotate back over towards B or someone through, because they got the information that the B zone was getting captured. Unfortunately, they hold strong, and so that push over towards A does not pan out. They waste time in the process, but it was worth a shot. Clayster in the back will get cut down, Pander will get cut down by Clayster, who's in the back. Fame will go ahead and walk into the pre-aim as well. First tick of progress over towards that B zone is clear. They're going for the second tick now, but as the time is still stalled at 54 seconds, they're now pushing over towards this A site. Might be able to get in. Capsule is going to be the first one here, but you got to watch for the lurking Fame, who's all the way over by the dockside.
And though Fame gets through for B, both players in Capsule and Brack were able to slip through over at this A site. Now, if they can find this kill on Pander, that would completely open to the site. They just aren't aware of it yet. Fame still wreaking havoc in the spawn. But that's going to be the kill for Capsule. That's going to be the opening on the site to jump on and then stop the clock. Now heads turning and arrows flying back towards this A site is off spawn. Whatever it takes. Going to get the rest of this B secured at least before they can come back. But Fame knocking on the door of the whatever it takes B point. At least wreaking some havoc, and Clayster gonna respond back in a big way, and now they're gonna have this B site down lives once again here. Gonna have to go big over at this A site and find success where they'd captured the A site the first go round. This time they've got to make the hike.
Map number 1, Clay, really not that big of a factor when it came to slaying. Turned it up a little bit towards the tail end of it. The S&D though, and now in the control. He has been the shining star for whatever it takes. And the main reason they are still inside of map number 3 here. 26 in 20. Everybody else negative across the board. Trying to will his team over towards this A site. A 3-life disadvantage. Streak now going to be called in. 2 players on the site. You're going to get the information on where these players are. Streak won't be able to find anything but except the information that you're going to get. Now pushing over towards the site. Fame down below. Not able to find the first one. Brack is wise to it, and he's going to be able to shut him down from the flank. Fellow in towards the right side will be able to find one. It's a 3-to-1 trade, so it's actually going to work out in their favor because the streak forces everybody indoors. You're able to pinch everybody together, but it's Pentagram who's trying to play shutdown yet again. Somehow stays alive and allows GodRx to come on back. So you invest the streak, you lose the point after a 3-to-1 trade, and now with 40 seconds left, you're down by 2 lives.
Pentagram's ability to play his life is next to none as far as top talent goes in Call of Duty. I mean, the way he's able to finesse and maneuver and know he has to play time for his teammates to come up off spawn is a difference maker for this Electrify Steel squad, especially in this control. Now 25 seconds left, and everyone except for Cap coming off respawn, and the read being made by Electrify Steel. Fellow looking over the top and able to at least look out for the time being. Right now, dancing around trying to buy time. This is the last hit. 6-6 in lives. Respawns don't even matter at this point. It's got to be a successful hit if you are whatever it takes. You open up with 2, but that quickly gets traded by GodRx.
4v5. Electrify Steel on the defensive side. No respawns remaining. Whatever it takes, still here trying to hold on. Time in their favor. Just kidding. Not really. 5 seconds left. Fellow inside. 3 versus 2. 1 player in the point right now, and the rest on the respawn block. Fellow's able to win 1. 1 versus 2 here now for GodRx. All he has to do is win 1 gunfight here against Clayster, and he can give his team the win in the round. Rack's not going to be able to get there in time. GodRx goes big. Whatever it takes. Almost clutched up in the life count, but it's Electrify Steel who now not only take the 3-to-1 win in the control, but now find themselves with a 2-to-1 series win, going back to Berlin yet again for a hard point in map 4.
Electrify Steel, GodRx, 29 and 18, 3,000 damage dealt in that map. Of course, a standout performance for the side of Electrify Steel, and still solid performances from other players as well in that to close that one out in a 3-1 fashion, where they needed to make a stand on defense. And we asked the question of who's going to be the first team to do it. Well, it was Electrify Steel, and now they find themselves up 2-1 in the series, where we saw them previously go back-to-back on maps of Tuscan and come out and win it that way. And now we go back-to-back on Berlin. Can they replicate it? And once again, another respawn where they still remember where they were handled earlier in the night by 80 or so points to 3 Kings. Yeah. Can they turn that around? And I think they have the ability to. I mean, for whatever it takes. Not everyone's been clicking on the same page at some point in the series. It's been 2 players here, 2 players there. It was slow Clayster on Bacage, and now it's slow Cap and Fellow the next 2 maps. And so you're going to try to get all 4 players on the same page here. And at least for Electrify Steel, you have all 4 players playing a more balanced approach here, where whatever it takes, it's a couple slower performances that are starting to cost you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, in map one, it was, the series of, okay, Electrify Steel has this lead. Hopefully they don't choke it away. And they didn't. So that was great. Map two, we go to the point where, whatever it takes, they played a really solid, well-oiled team game. Everybody had their moments. Everybody had their big plays. And that is what allowed them to go up and win that S&D. But, this is the first time, whatever it takes, not only have lost Respawn in the series, but they lose their 2 respawns. Yeah. And now you go into a hard point where not only do you have to beat Electrify Steel, who have looked good against you this whole series, in hardpoint and Respawn specifically, but you have to do so to force a final map. And again, say what you will about team rosters changing and whatnot, this team has been able to overcome a lot of adversity throughout this stage thus far, with a lot of moving pieces and a lot of new players being able to find their way onto this roster. But with 2Real having the exit and now Capstone being on that roster, it's going to be kind of a learning curve in a sense, but at the same time, not really. It's just all going to come down to what happens in the playoffs, because again, you've already locked up that 1 seed for yourself. You're going to be able to go into the playoffs with a full head of steam against every team except for Electrify Steel. But guess what? They're not going to be there. So 2-0, or rather a 2-1 lead here for ESG. Now going to a map 4 of Berlin, as Cash alluded to beforehand, and a hard point trying to force that Bacage search and destroy in map 5. Again, this is still trying to keep an undefeated season alive. I'm not going to say that this is an important game for Wit in terms of confidence booster, but for Electrify Steel, this again is another good bit of a momentum for what could be in Boston.
Yeah, and like you said, it just kind of proves that, okay, yeah, we took tough losses to teams that we probably should have won, in this stage. But when it comes to top dog, we're going to play them as tough as we can. So you can never count anyone out in this. And if you are whatever it takes, you have to win the next 2 in order to take the series. Yep. I would have thought coming into this that Electrify Steel would have had to have taken the search and destroy, given that those were the only 2 modes, or the only 2 maps in mode that whatever it takes is lost coming into this. Turns out it's the respawns. And if I'm whatever it takes, you would want this adversity, like you said, you have the 1 seed lock, but you would want this adversity because it can show where you can still work out some of your gameplay before you get to the big stage. And you want to be able to have some challenges to where, okay, maybe we aren't as sharp at this as we thought we were. Okay, now we can iron this out. Well, we did lose 2 S&Ds, and that's the only thing we've lost, but we've taken care of business tonight. So I definitely wouldn't have wanted a 3-0 if I was whatever it takes. You do still want to come out and win this one, and it has to be the next 2 maps in order to do so, but for whatever it takes, you like the adversity, you hope you already want to correct those mistakes going into this next hard point, but it's something that at least will show a true testament of your team, seeing if you can battle back from these challenges.
Yeah, I think you made a great point there. Just being able to, battle through adversity right before playoffs, where you're probably going to have to face the same amount of adversity, if not more. There's going to be teams that are going to catch fire. There's going to be teams that get hot, and you just hope that yours isn't the team that goes on a cold spree right when the playoffs is ramping up and everything's getting to the important stages of the final stage of the Elite of the season. So, the North American side of things, whatever it takes, the best team with the best record inside of the round robins thus far coming into this game. First 10 seconds going to go their way. A nice double from Pentagram, though, is going to open things up. He's got 3, looking to make it number 4. His Placer's there behind the doorway. Unfortunately, though, a nade's going to pick him up, but as Electrify Steel are able to bounce back, Pentagram used enough time off that clock to allow the reinforcements to get there, whatever it takes, on the outside looking in.
And if you're ESG, anytime you can get off P1 while maintaining eyes on that rotation for P2 is going to be a victory. You want to try to get on this unfavorable side as much P1 time as you can. Another 4 down in the feed, and that's going to cause the spawn flip to come in. They do recognize that quickly and start to turn around and play forward. At least I thought for the time being, with Player and Godarex falling there, that is going to be all eyes on P2. And, well, if you're whatever it takes, you really want to hold on to these spawns that you were gifted on that 4 down, and if you're Electrify Steel, now you got to work and try to make a break over here.
Right now it's just bait for Pander, or allow Pander to kind of play the oddball island role to get a few kills. You're on 5 in a row. You're looking for number 6 here. You're going to be able to find it. Number 7 could come here in just a moment with the Automaton trying to get over towards the dockside. Shots on the Brack is going to alert him of his position. But his Fame is able to find 2. This is going to force Brack into a bad spot. Shots back around the left side. Going to be able to go for number 7 here. Glide Bomb to use for Electrify Steel. Still yet to die. It's Casey Pander.
And in and around the site, Godarex and Pentagram, they're getting it done. And how electric has Pentagram been whenever he has come alive and is in that first series in the respawn? When he started clicking, and he's a player that can, he's just been the difference maker and the X factor for the team. At 4-4, nothing crazy, but the dirty work SMG who really gets in and gets the job done. Panda right now, though he got his streaks, just trying to put icing on top of the cake of what already is an electric 8-2 start. Rotation. Trying to go the way of whatever it takes. They need to find a way to respond, as once again they find themselves in a hole, at least with the first 2 hills of a hard point. They have this P3 locked, and Electrify Steel, they do have to push across the map to try to get in, but You need to see this turnaround from Wit.
The thing with ESG is like when they play chaotic and they're able to swarm around the hill, and that's when it seems like that's when whatever it takes just kind of not falls apart, but it tends to struggle, and that's what gives Electrify Steel those early bursts of momentum towards the beginning of the games where they're able to get out to a 50, 60 point lead, as we've seen in both of the respawns so far when it comes to hardpoint. So whatever it takes though, all the way in towards the back line, they've done a nice job of holding down the spawns, winning the gunfights instead of fire, and back over towards P1. They needed a good hold here on the hill, and a full 60 will be just what the doctor ordered, as they're about tied with Electrify Steel here, 65-75, and looking for the scrap time here at the tail end of P3.
Clayster, if he's able to find this one, that will secure not only the scrap time, but as you said, a near full 60 on P3, and quickly on rotation is whatever it takes through the back. Brock's able to find one, and if they can sniff out this last player in Pentagram, that would be spawns for P4 and let them continue to ride the momentum that they found in P3. Playing the timing and playing patient is Pentagram. Godorex is able to find a kill around the front. They're able to sniff out Pentagram. Clayster gonna call on the streak immediately. They want to try to grab this lead and blow this game out.
Full kill there from Clay over the top. It's going to extend the streak to 8 in a row. Pentagram down below. Godorex going to fall hand to the Clayster too. Wrapping over back towards the site. Pander, the next victim, potentially in the iron sights of Clayster. Shots are going to be there. Beautiful headshot as well. Automaton out. Somehow, Clayster still alive, has extended his streak to double digits, and now moving towards the window. He's just trying to play spoiler to anybody else who's trying to push on out. It was 5 in a row for another player in Capsidal. Now it's whatever it takes, who have taken the reins of this Berlin hardpoint and started to run away with it, as Clayster now looks for number 11. Can you snap back for number 12? Unfortunately, the streak will come to an end, but the damage has been done. Electrify Steel, they've been sitting at 75 for quite some time now. Whatever it takes, have done a phenomenal job of opening this game wide open.
And they're flowing where Clayster's streak ends. Fellow tries to pick up where he left off. Everyone firing here for whatever it takes, and they get the kills and the clearance on P5, at least for the time being, to grab that first bit of time. Electrify Steel just waiting to try to collapse, and more importantly, just keep whatever it takes off, slow down this train of momentum that is rolling their way, even if they're not gaining points. Well, at least Wit is neither, and that's how you want to keep it for the time being until you get comfortable enough to start to collapse on this site, slow down this momentum, and get yourself back in a groove. They do have spawns as you look forward towards P1, but we are still about 25 seconds away from that rotation, and Godorex getting found out towards the top end of top third. Players for whatever it takes, collapsing on the site. Team nade comes in, but still in control.
Starting to make that wrap all the way back around through P1. Fellow wants to play spoiler. We'll come back to him in just a moment. Look at Godorex. He was waiting for the spawn to come back around. Fellow was able to win the one-on-one gunfight there, so that's going to allow the pinch now to start coming in back over towards P1. Second set of rotations is going to be here, but the spawn's going to be locked in for whatever it takes, at least at the moment. Still pretty far back as player number 5 and Brack spawns all the way back over towards the docks. But as you push this one up and forward, Electrify Steel, this is where they were able to get a huge chunk of time, and this is the rotation over towards P2 early on, which gave them the lead. They might be able to retake here, but it's going to need to be another solid hold for 40 more seconds.
They definitely need a solid hold here. It was a near 120-point swing, almost 120 points through 3 hills for whatever it takes to get the lead that they did. Just a 30-second lead now, and Electrify Steel, another 4 down on P1. They have found so much success here holding it from the front. Now the rotation is on, and Pentagram flying through, hoping to shoot a couple players in the back, but Clayster plays it back, plays it patient, able to shut that down. That play could have blown up in their face if not.
That's such unfortunate timing for Pentagram, too. It's literally just the epitome of COD timing, because everybody spawns up, but Clayster goes over towards the right instead of everybody else. So he looks back over towards P1 because he wants to go make a play and make a route to try and get some scrap time there, or at least disrupt the scrap time from Electrify Steel while everybody else is on the rotation. So they make the right play there. Fame, double inside of the hill. I mean, every time we switch to Fame's POV, it just seems like there's going to be some sort of action happening, whether it be good, whether it be bad. Mostly it's going to be a double or a triple kill, because that's just how it works when the spotlight gets on Fame. So Fellow over towards the windows, gonna hop in, hops back out, looks for Fame inside of the point. Well, he's now on 3 in a row, 140, 135 after a nice P1, and now a rotation to P2. Electrify Steel are in the lead. However, it's not going to last for long, as whatever it takes have now put themselves back ahead of Electrify Steel.
They can find the last bit of this time and once again find success over at P3. They could get very much close to that 200-point mark for whatever it takes. Locking it down at least early on for the rotation battle. Electrify Steel gonna try to hold on to spawns here. Clayster and Brack able to combine for 2 quickly on rotation. Fame, though, trying to slow down this attack coming in. Pander alongside, holding on to these back spawns. The attack gonna be split and stalled. for whatever it takes for the time being. Any amount of time you can get early on for this, you'll take for Electrify Steel.
Oh, looking to make his way over towards the bottom of Fire. Trying to get back into P3. They want to go ahead and flip these spawns out, and as Fellow is able to find that kill, that might just open up the dock side for a few players or whatever it takes to start making their way forward. Pentagram, though, beautiful movement back across, is going to be able to find one. Unfortunate kill there for Fame comes through as Brack will fall. 30 seconds left here on this hill, and tons of time to game for either of these two teams. P3 is one of those hills where you are okay with fighting for the scraps because of how far across the map P4 is, and if you're Panda right now, you're happy because you still have the glide bomb in the back pocket. You were on 3 in a row, but you've helped your team not only jump out to a 20-point lead, but have held down P3 almost in its entirety for 60 seconds.
Lead now out to well over 20 points. Rotation on for whatever it takes. They're going to chalk up the last bit of scrap time, but at least try to cut off on rotation. They're able to get a good bit of time on P4 the last go around. They need about 40 seconds of it here to put this at a tied game, as Electrify Steel just 5 to 6 points away from crossing that 200-point mark. Whatever it takes, you don't want to have to battle back in a hard point, but once again, you find yourself in this position, and for Electrify Steel, you're playing the map much better in your respawns than you had earlier in the evening. 3 go down, the collapse is in on the site, but you hold off that initial wave, or you're able to get that initial break, and then you start to know what lanes they're coming from. You know they're coming through train side now, all of the pre-aims being held at the backside of train station. So whatever it takes is holding it from the front. Electrify Steel, they've got the spawns to make it work from the back.
Oh, okay. Well, he was weak, but Clayster's able to snap with the pistol to Pentagram in the back. Last time it was Clayster's glide bomb that allowed the side of whatever it takes to move into the hill. It was Electrify Steel that used the glide bomb this time to get themselves some positioning. But Clayster, once again, on 4 in a row, 27 and 16 here in map number 4. Again, despite what happened on Bakaj throughout the first initial moments, he has been phenomenal for 2, 3, and 4. Maybe Berlin's just his map and well-being in AR. You got to assume so. 28 and 17 now, minute and 4 inside of the hill, and whatever it takes, still looking to climb their way back into this game. It'd be an upset for Electrify Steel, but this game is nowhere near over.
We're starting to get to the tail end of things, and P5 once again being locked down by whatever it takes, doing just that in order to secure a win and push us to a game number 5 in this series, trying to dip their toe and get whatever bit of time they can, while also trying to sniff out some kills. Force the Electrify Steel players to have to run up and get some free time off this P5 as they come up off spawn. 2 kills go their way, and now sitting on the time, down 5 points. Whatever it takes. Do have to have eyes on rotation, but they don't want to give up any of this time for free because that just puts Electrify Steel that much closer to that 250-point mark, and as a few kills start to go the way of Electrify Steel, they look to collapse on the site just like that.
Through 2 full rotations of hard points, you could not ask for a closer game between both of these two teams. Full focus and attention now over towards P1 for the rotation. Fellow was able to find one. Snaps Agata Rex. He's going to be weak. Can't challenge just yet, but will anyways because he wants to make sure nobody from the side of whatever it takes can push back over towards this hill. 5 seconds the advantage now for whatever it takes, but as Electrify Steel gets into the point, they should be able to get back to that moment in just a few seconds and do. Lead change yet again. Electrify Steel this time going to jump their way and catapult over whatever it takes. And now as Capsule tries to fly on in, it's Fame who turns around through the back, but a one-shot kill there from Cap is going to be able to take it. They now have numbers back over towards the point.
Goddard's able to find 2 big kills at the front of the hill. Panda are going to try to find another, but Brack is able to trade that out as well. No one for whatever it takes hitting a route. You try to bully through the front, and you lose 25 seconds off the clock. Now you have Fellow trying to hit a route, but will Panda be able to sniff it out, or does the pinch play work out? Either way, you put yourself in a bind, and now are in a situation where the reads are going to be easy. You have to come through the front of the hill. There's 15 seconds left. Whatever it takes, this is the last go. Rex
had such an impactful kill. It was 4 straight kills, made it 5 all the way towards the end of it. Now 5 seconds left here. Whatever it takes, desperately trying to get back in towards the point. Gunfights aren't going to be won. Electrify Steel 2 seconds away. Fellow gets the touch, but won't be able to get in. Electrify Steel upset the number 1 seed, whatever it takes. And although it's really not going to do all that much for playoff implications, it's still a shocker here in North America for Stage 4. As the best team, in way of record, will fall to a team that was already eliminated from the playoffs.
And I wasn't a huge fan of how whatever it takes opted to play that P1. They spent the first 20 seconds of the hill trying to bully through the front. That doesn't work out for you. You still have a couple players up, and you try to maybe get a couple players off the site, but by the time you spawn up and can even get in a position to make a play, well, now they're within 15 seconds of winning, and you don't have time to take a route. I would have liked to have seen them, with the players that they have in Cap and Fellow, try to hit a route and work a pinch play. We've seen them find success in it in the series up to this point. They unfortunately try to bully it out from the front. You live and die by all 4 players taking a front attack, and it just didn't pan out for them that time. Electrify Steel, they hold on, and props to them for taking the series in a 3-1 fashion.
Going to stats here, we'll talk about that in just a moment, but I have to mention on the actual live challenger stream right now, the main stream, youtube.com/COD challengers, Destroy the Odds, Ironblood Gaming for a spot in the playoffs for Destroy the Odds. They are tied 3-3 in a game 5 on Desert Siege, so go take a gander at that as our game has just ended here in order to see which team will make it into the playoffs with that final spot and see if Destroy the Odds will be able to make it in via a win. But taking a look at our statistics here, 31-22 from Clayster. Again, after the very beginning of that series, he was incredible through 2, 3, and 4. Again, a Berlin demon took over his body, and that's pretty much all that was needed to be said. But unfortunately, there in that last game, there wasn't enough significant help there to allow Clayster and the boys of whatever it takes to be able to beat Electrify Steel. So undefeated season, rather undefeated stage here in stage 4. Unfortunately, not going to be there. But Electrify Steel, that's a huge win in the W column, specifically for the fact that now you go into Boston with a head full of steam, being able to take on whatever it takes online. If you can do that on land, it's even better. But we look at our map set here. Again, Cash, it was a Bocage in map 1, 3 straight Berlins. We would have went on to a Bocage for map number 5, but it was a really good series where for the first time we see whatever it takes lose respawns, and ESG absolutely has a great series for them. Very close maps across the board, but you got to be happy for the guys at ESG.
You absolutely got to be happy for that. Now what the next step for this ESG squad is can we replicate that on a night-to-night basis? They find success in series. Granted, they lost, that tough earlier series in a game 5 round 11 situation to 3 Kings, but when Electrify Steel was finding success, all 4 players were putting up even stat lines. It wasn't one person doing this, one person doing that. Now, Pentagram was making a big play here and there. You had Fame popping 2 pieces on maps like Tuscan and Berlin as well. GodRx, of course, showing big plays in the Search and Destroy. So everyone can have their pop-off moment, but as a team, you all have to collectively show up. That's where they found success, and we're able to take down a team like Whatever It Takes. For the side of Whatever It Takes, you're going to be a better team for this loss tonight. As much as it may sting now, it doesn't affect your playoff implications. You are going to be able to iron out some King subs before you get to LAN and to Boston as well. It'll help your playoff chances as well before you get there. So again, for both squads, a great win for Electrify Steel to kind of solidify that, hey, we're still a team. Don't forget about us and toss us to the wayside. And for Whatever It Takes, where you need to go from here as well. So again, a loss for Whatever It Takes, but I think a win for both sides, depending on how you look at it.
Ironblood Gaming, Destroy the Odds. Go take go watch it. Go. I want to see you guys go watch that right now because it's a fun series. Unless you have it double tabbed open, I want to see those numbers steadily drop out of here and then also increase and boost over on the mainstream. That's youtube.com/COD challengers if you didn't hear it beforehand. Either way though, that'll do it for us here on the Clutch GG stream. Electrify Steel, a 3-1 victory over Whatever It Takes. It was a fun series. It was a fun round of matches here for the final day in North America, at least for the round robins. Playoffs will be starting up very, very soon. We'll have streams here live on the community side of things for the Clutch GG factor, and of course at youtube.com/COD challengers, they'll have the main playoffs going on there at the same time. Again, that's going to do it for us tonight. My name is McCormiel, with me Cash. On behalf of everybody of the production team of Sport and everybody else that makes these streams possible, we want to say thank you for coming out, thank you for watching, thank you for supporting Call of Duty challengers in the European and the North American regions, and we'll see you here for playoffs in just a couple of days.